wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name, check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change, possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be.
Hello and welcome, listeners, to another episode of Tactical Awareness. It's Season 2, Episode 16, ITS15, the faction guide for Torchlight Brigade. We're back. Dan has got his hands on some Torchlight models. He's played some games. We've got all the stats. And we're in with another faction guide as Owen and Dan and I get together for our now infrequent podcasts as we are late season in ITS15. So let's dive in, see how the boys are doing, and get this going.
After an hour of not doing it, now we're doing it.
It was the hour build-up.
It was the hour build-up of waiting for Dan to Dan up, because Dan's the only one that's got these models and has actually played some games with them, which I'm pretty excited to talk about. Because today is the return to force, at least briefly, for March. We got this in still. Technically, it's March. It's the 29th today. I'm gonna put this up just tomorrow. So we'll have two podcasts that are going up. We'll have one I did with Spud, which is an Adepticon recap for the Infinity stuff at Adepticon, and then Torchlight Brigade, our player's guide, to add to our O12 thing. And Dan, because of the weirdness of pre-orders through CB, got his miniatures before the pre-release at Adepticon, so he's already got a painted army.
They're half painted, but hey, it's painted, I guess.
Oh, and you've played how many games?
I just played 2 games with them.
I mean, that's 2 more than most people have played with Torchlight at this point, which will inform more of our conversation. Now, this won't actually probably be that long of a podcast because a lot of stuff is repeats in this list, right? Like they have access to authorized.
There's actually a lot of new stuff.
Yeah.
But
I was going to say like Cyclops, Kappas, Beast Hunters,
yeah.
Authorized Bounty Hunters, Raven Eyes, like, yeah.
But there's like a lot of stuff that's to be released later on. And so we can speculate about those things. But
exactly.
The stuff that has been released, we can also talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. But we should probably do a recap because I've actually played some Infinity games today. I played 2 games against Spud, who was here at the beginning of the call that Owen got to say hi to. And I haven't painted a damn thing since the Hak Islam. We took a nice month-long break basically after Holding the Carbonite. And I've been playing nothing but Resilience Ops. And can I tell you how much I like Resilience Ops for just like pickup games of not having to like plan and just taking like weird gimmick lists? It's great. I really like Resilience Ops. Have you guys given that a try yet?
Nope.
Really?
No, I mean, the closest thing was the weird side things at Cold and Carbonite. It is I would actually consider running an event for Resilience Ops maybe like in the next couple of months, maybe over the summer, and like curate the decks maybe a little bit, because it has been like the most refreshing way to play the game, because you don't go into it over planning, if that makes sense. And you don't go into it worrying too much about pairings, and the double blind game mechanic of both of you thinking maybe you know what the other one's trying to do, but like trying to figure it out while you go, and like having to like defensively place your objectives, defensively place your beacons, has been like a lot of fun. Like there's an extra layer to it that I'm really, really enjoying. I played 3 games of it now, 2 against Spud, 1 against Jordan. And it's been really, really like refreshing after playing all that kind of like hyper planned ITS stuff. It's funny because like when it first released, I was like, I am so excited for this, and I just haven't played one game.
Yeah, highly recommend. That's what I've been up to. So obviously, Dan, why don't you catch us up? So tell us the story of like you just pre-ordered this through the site. How did you get your hands on Torchlight so fast?
So it was literally like, I don't know if it was an email from CB spamming me, or it was like some
marketing,
Facebook or something, where it was like Adepticon pre-order pack, and I'm like, okay, so free shipping. And like 30 euros off, and I get the free bounty hunter,
which is a great model. That model is awesome.
I
really like that. He's my favorite, I think, NA2 model since the new War Driver, because I love that new War Driver miniature, but that bounty hunter is awesome.
And I just kind of stared at it for like 6 to 12 hours periodically between me postponing cleaning up, preparing to move, and searching for a new job. And so finally I was like, screw it. And I just ordered
I
it
want these.
because it was in my back of my mind. There was still a small chance I was going to Adepticon.
Right.
It wasn't a realistic chance because
I actually saw one of your friends from up in the mountains who plays Infinity with you guys. Shoot, what's his name? He told me to say hi to you guys when I was at Adepticon. He's got a beard.
Darren or Tim?
I think it was Darren.
Yeah.
I think it was Darren. Yeah, he said hi to you guys. He said he plays with you guys. He lives up in Banff.
Yeah. One of the Banff guys.
Yeah, super nice dude.
I can't remember if he was playing Infinity or Malifaux at the event.
I think he was playing Malifaux because he knew you, Dan, through Malifaux.
Yeah. We played both. He's actually played in one of our Infinity local tournaments as well.
Sweet.
He's a good guy.
So then when did this stuff show up?
It took like less than a week. It was
Which is insane.
It was like, oh, okay. It was, I think I ordered on like a Thursday. I got it like on a Tuesday.
That's so crazy.
I was like, huh, what do you know? So I was like, sweet, I have these models. And I got it out. I was excited, started painting. And then I was like, wait, which model's which? What am I supposed to do? And I got
you didn't have rules yet. Like the app hadn't even been updated. Like there was nothing.
The app was not final. It was just whatever. And so I'm like, okay, like
we had screenshots.
I want to identify which model is which model. So I was like, oh, they don't have that in the back of the box anymore, but there's a QR code. The QR code is broken and sends you to an Aleph battle box.
Oh my God.
And I also got the reinforcements for O12. I was going to get that regardless anyways at some point. So then I scanned that one. Same exact Aleph battle box.
No.
I'm like, okay. So it wasn't too hard to find. You go online and do some searching and figure it out. But okay, and I just like started planning my little paint versions, whatever, and I got all the kind of the base purple done, and then I'm doing like the gold highlights or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, I batch painted that. It'll probably only take me a couple hours to finish them all because of how
it's what like 10. How much is the action pack? Like 10 models?
I can't even remember. And everything's at the new house already. So
yeah, but what did you get? You got the Ment in the box, I think.
The reinforcement box gives you the Ment and the Vidoc.
The Vidoc.
3 jack boots.
Mm-hmm.
And what else did it give me? I thought it was one more.
There's usually 6 in the box, yeah. Was it a
Nightshade, maybe?
Nightshade?
Sneaky guy?
I think it was a Nightshade, yeah.
I feel like Sneaky or Sniper.
No, Nightshade's not released yet. Nightshade's like a cat face.
Oh.
Is it the Moonraker?
No,
Moonraker's... Or one of the bots? Is it one of the bots,
no.
maybe?
That's all from the new stuff. That's not the reinforcement stuff. Let's see. I'm just gonna look at reinforcements. What's available in reinforcements?
Hellblazer?
Nope, that's the new stuff. That's Torchlight.
Okay.
Wait, maybe it was 2 Vidocs?
Might have been one of each type.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Because that's what the reinforcements for hack gives you. It gives you 2 Govads, 2 of the other. What's the other assassins like unit type? It's not Govads. Govads and Muyibs. That's right. Yeah, Govads, Muyibs, and then you get 1 each of the other 2 things, and I can't remember what they are.
Yeah, because the only thing that are reinforcements, that's everything. So so it was 1 Ment, 2 Vidocs, and 3 jack boots.
And then what comes in the action pack?
And the action pack,
you get the Prime.
You get the Prime. You get 3 of the. Sorry, I'm just gonna bring this back up here. 3 of the Silver Stars.
Yeah,
and then 2 Hellblazers. You get the. You get 1 Nimrod. You don't get a Kludger. Those aren't out yet. You get the Prime. Yeah, you said that already. You get, you believe, a Strider and a Yellow Jacket.
So 8 models.
I think that was it.
There's no character. You don't get the Sword Man, or is that the Prime? Who's the Sword and Shield guy?
Those are the Hellblazers.
Got it. Yeah.
You get 2 of those.
Right.
And the one that's pointing is sort of forward is just hellish. Like it's like
he can't Yeah.
and the front of my hand is the edge of the base, and then another base and a half worth of sword.
I don't ever get cover, basically. I'm backing into every piece of cover ever made. So that's not bad. So between the reinforcements box and the action pack, you get 14 of the new models.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't cheap. It was actually quite expensive, but
that's a good starting amount of models to make this army list out of, right?
Yeah.
And then you still add in all your copper bots and your fuzz bots and stuff like that too, because they're still part of the list. And also you can add in your beast hunter, your authorized bounty hunter, your kappas, your cyclops, your raven eyes, that already pre-existed, your war core. Trying to think of whatever a digger.
Forget the mandatory digger.
Don't forget the digger, because he won't forget you with his AP hugs. So that's a good amount of stuff available, and Hippolyta too. So that's a good amount of stuff like available at launch. You know what I mean? Like that's probably 20 profiles available at launch.
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's go through what's not available right now. You got the Nightshades.
Yep.
You got the Storm bots, but those are easily those are size 4 bots, so you can proxy those pretty easily. I guess you don't have the Moonrakers.
No, Moonrakers are Jamie.
You don't have the Wreckers,
Netroid.
which is the
New tag.
tag.
But I think it's up next. I think on the release schedule it was like the next thing.
You don't have Samus, not Samus.
Yep.
No Sonya, no Wave Riders, no Cludgers. And I do believe that's it. So only 8 profiles we're missing.
That's awesome. I mean, that's a pretty comprehensive release for like 2 boxes. So that's not bad at all. So what about you before we skip ahead, Owen? What's the Infinity you've been doing, or has it been purely old world? You ran a crazy event. You ran a crazy event.
We got rid of the limits. We brought back bring as many models as you want.
Oh, I love that.
I folded and didn't play the list I had been playing up to it because everyone was playing Hawk Islam at the event, and I didn't want to be like Hawk Islam player number 4.
Okay.
Instead, I played Shazwasti, and yeah, I did really bad. It was great.
Did you drown the table in shredders though?
And all that?
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah. They didn't make any difference though. It was a case of like
everybody had Thunderbots?
No, it was more like the QAZ creature killed most of my army one game.
Oh, weird.
Like the shrouded, or not the shrouded, what are they called? Caliban comes out of camo and attacks it with surprise attack CC 27 and then dies because he just crits me on a 5 and kills me.
Oh,
then he kills 2 Taiga Beasts and then he kills another Taiga Beast before going down.
Burst 3 CC is no joke.
I'm like, sweet. That's cool. And then
that's cool. I guess this is happening.
The other game, he just survived 2 direct hits from missiles. Just made all of his armor saves at armor 2. And then he survived 5 berserking Taigas into a Fide. There's no armor. He's just like 17, 17, 18, 17, 17. Guess I have 50 points in the zone, and I'm like, all right.
I can picture your sour face from getting dice like that.
It's like, yeah,
it's like sweet wine.
You got me. So
you did. I mean, you did not so that they good around dice.
Not that they didn't play like and do the objective and like be in the zones and stuff.
I know.
It was just a case
the
of
dice
like
on top. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, all I need to do is this 8-point Taiga goes berserk, and you roll anything like you have a 14 or less, and you're dead.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, well that failed. Let's do it again. All right, well that failed. Let's do it again. All right, well that failed. I'm running out of dudes. Like I can't keep trying.
These are my favorite moments when this happens to you.
Yeah. So
you told me you torpedoed your ITS rank with this too.
Yeah, I don't know where I'm at now. I'm like way down.
You like lost like 100 points of ITS rank for getting torpedoed in this crazy event. That's fantastic. All right, well, let's jump into the main event then. Actually, do we have any mailbag questions? I guess would be the question. We should do 3 mailbag questions before we jump any further.
Well, you're looking at one of the games with was practicing against his hack list, and I'm like, all right, I got Silver Star Prime. He's got like the super fancy heavy machine gun with the -3 BS attack. Awesome. I like come out around a corner, and I'm like, I'll fight 2 Daylamas at the same time. They're hitting on 5s, and I'm hitting on 14s. I got crit and died. Did I even kill the other one?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Owen, are you still there?
What are we
Did I
talking
even
about?
kill the other Daylami?
No. You just died.
I
I
just
just-
died.
Yeah.
Just like
Yes. He walks. Oh no, I think you did kill the one day Lami, and the other one just crit you and killed you instantly.
yeah.
That's really
Yeah.
funny.
Welcome to Infinity Silver Star Prime.
I'm like, I'm
On the
armor
ground.
5 in cover. Nope. AP explosive.
Oh no, poor Silver Star Prime.
Yeah. And
Oh,
then
man.
in my second game, he didn't make one shot before he was isolated.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Because I literally walked up, I had Hippolyta and then he was like second, and he was just gonna like lay out suppressive fire. And he lays out this fast panda or whatever. So whatever the one is, the deployable repeater.
Well,
Yeah, sure.
Fast Panda. Yeah, Fast Panda. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, it's there. So I break Hippolyta out of the group so he can't free hack me with Merry Problems. And I shoot it twice, and it doesn't die. But I'm also like
So-
fighting
that's so
other people at the
frustrating.
same time. And so
Yeah,
I'm
when
like,
it's
I guess I can just never move with him anymore. And then he got carbonated, then he reset out of it, and then he got isolated, and then
he had all the programs on him. He was -12 to reset. Nothing could possibly go right with him.
And then
Yeah.
and then a rounder popped up and put a red fury into him, and I just failed all my saves.
Oh my god. Well, we have one question. It's from Stuart, and it is, I really enjoyed the recent GW Monopoly discussion video on GMG, and a comment about Infinity is the only competitor left standing got me thinking. Well, that's not entirely what we said. What we said was that they're one of the last mid-sized companies still standing. Specifically, the comment about Infinity's origins as an RPG system feeding its long-term success. Given the recent explosion of popularity for D&D content, is there scope for a tabletop wargame built on the D&D IP to compete with GW in the fantasy space in a similar manner? Potentially a skirmish-style game in the current narrative stream, although they might split the user base for the RPG, or a mass battle game utilizing the rich and tumultuous history of lore and factions of the setting. Wizards, of course, might be the only brand in the GW space who can form a challenge to GW, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on this relative possibility. So I'm just going to go right out here and say that that Hasbro at Wizards of the Coast D&D has absolutely shit the bed with their customers, and is
Wizards can barely run their own game.
Yeah, they're shrinking. They are shrinking at an exponential rate right now and have no idea what their customers want. So while I do think the potential is there, I think that the current layoffs and leadership at Hasbro Wizards has no capacity to make something like this.
Combat's also the worst part of D&D.
Well, I mean, they're talking about writing. He's talking about writing a system based on
Sure.
the world, right? D&D is currently having like a mass exodus of players, not from playing D&D, but from actively being customers. And when I say exodus, I don't just mean them. I mean the fact that they're not selling books anymore. Like Chapters Indigo here in Canada, which is our Barnes and Noble, is liquidating their entire D&D sections. They're just getting rid of it. The D&D section at GameStop here is also being liquidated. So like where they used to have this massive market penetration, you literally can't make money selling their books anymore. We had a conversation about this in Inside Tabletop later on with that same retailer. He can't sell and make his margin basically on D&D books is what people pay for them on Amazon. So you just physically can't make money selling D&D stuff, and the books are the primary products. D&D's had a couple mass combat systems and skirmish systems. They actually have a game right now. It's a board game hybrid. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but there is actually a war game made by D&D, and they've done several dungeon crawler games for this edition in 5e as well. They're all kind of just Hasbro box board games though, like pre-painted Hasbro box board games. And they haven't done very well because that's not really what the D&D market wants. And their customers are so disenfranchised that anything new that Hasbro's been trying lately has just been met with instant resistance, because Hasbro's they've had kind of a mutiny with their customers. That's my personal opinion, and me kind of echoing the opinions of my retailer friends and my D&D nerd friends. And basically all of social media to do with D&D, but it's really backed up by when I walk into the stores that used to have entire bays of D&D product, and there's maybe half a shelf left because they've just run it all down and no new releases. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think, Owen?
I mean, who cares about the D&D lore? Like, the
Sure,
plot
not
and
even
settings
not
for
even D&D
is,
anymore.
like, not like, I don't know. I know there's interesting stories out there, but the stories that are told about it that are interesting are the ones told by the people playing at your table, not
Yep.
like the narrative in the books. Like,
Yep.
I get it. I'm sure that people do read those, and there's probably a lot of lore behind it, but like, there's a lot of good settings. There's
Yep.
not a lot of good stories. And like, yeah, Baldur's
And
Gate's
they've-
a really cool setting, and you can make a video game that becomes one of the best-selling games of the year, all time, something like that.
And then they walked away from D&D.
And they went, we're not making any content for this again, and we're not making any D&D DLC, and we're not making a Baldur's Gate 4. Thank you. Goodbye.
Isn't that insane? They had the best game of the year and they walked away from the property immediately. That
Means
says
that's
something.
a giant pain in the ass to interact with that other organization.
That's a
Yep.
huge red flag for how that company is currently doing. And even if you look at their last couple waves for Magic, which is their other tentpole flagpole thing, their own background stuff for Magic is completely irrelevant now, and they're just renting IPs, right? They're doing Fallout right now, and I think the next two in the pipeline are some other rented IPs too that aren't theirs.
Yeah, that's all they're doing. It's like, we're tired of making cards, so we're just going to run through all the popular IPs that people are nostalgic or whatever about, and then we'll implode.
Yeah, because there's no creative people really left making decisions in any of those companies. It's just money people, and the money people just gamble with whatever the percentages of return are going to be, and they don't make anything interesting. And the problem with, I think in particular D&D, is that the fundamental misunderstanding is that I think Hasbro Wizards thinks that their customers need them to make things for them. And Owen and Dan and I could just sit around a table with a handful of dice and play D&D out of our heads and have just as good a time as if we had the current rulebooks in front of us.
Or
You don't
we could
need-
buy the hundreds, if not thousands, of pieces of content created by fans and such across
In OGL. Yeah.
across a spectrum of mediums that completely revamp the game and change it in ways that would make it more engaging for people. Like,
Exactly.
There's
They're providing
no
an experience.
shortage of tabletop role-playing games.
no, just within the D&D sphere. I'm not even talking
just
about
in the-
like, oh, let's go
just
play
just
Pathfinder. I'm
OGL.
talking
Yeah, just
like,
OGL 5e guys. Exactly.
I'm just gonna play fan-made campaign settings that I buy off of drive-through RPG,
Yeah.
drive-through PDF for $1. And I'm only going to play those, and it's a more engaging game than I'm going to get out of the latest, like the Frost Rhyme or whatever it was that came out.
And cheaper.
Like, and it was $1 or less. 'Cause
Well,
they're
and the core
usually
mechanics,
free.
but that's the thing is the core mechanics of D&D are 6 numbers that you roll with 4 dice drop the lowest, and you know what the basic math is. Like, you and I would never need to open a book to just sit across from each other and play D&D. And I think the problem is that the money people at Hasbro tried to drive that game towards being like an Apple, sunk cost into our app ecosystem type of thing, because that
Well,
was what they thought that would make the money, and nobody actually wanted that because everybody was already playing
knows
D&D
the
at
best
home.
way to roll your stats in D&D is D12 plus 6.
Yeah, sure, whatever you want, man. You roll them however you want. It doesn't matter.
You roll,
right? It
you roll
doesn't matter
your
ultimately.
D12 plus 6, and that's your stat. Good luck.
Okay, fair enough. That's the chaos way of doing it. I like
That's the
three-
balanced way of doing it. What are you talking about?
I like
Minimum
the-
7, maximum 18.
Sure, but you're less likely to get an 18. So my favorite way is the
No, you're not.
I know you're more likely, actually, you're right, because you don't need to get 3 6s on with the drop the low. I don't know. I can do the math.
Come on, do the math. Get out your math
No,
calculator.
I'm
We were
not
just
doing it.
talking
I'm
about
not-
this. I
I'm
want
not
my
doing it.
odds.
I know what your RNG on stats. My favorite way of doing D&D stats is the original way, which is you do them in order with 3d6 and you get what you get and you don't get upset. And you discover who your character is. You don't assign stats. You roll them in order: strength, dexterity, con,
And then you kill yourself and roll again.
That's right. No, that's why Dungeon Crawl Classic does it that way. But you have to make 4 characters because only one will survive the funnel adventure, and then that will be the hero. Because every first adventure in Dungeon Crawl Classic is a survival horror game where you don't know who's going to live, and you don't start with any classes because you're just regular schlubs called to action. That's my favorite way of playing D&D.
That's actually really fun.
Oh, dude, Dungeon Crawl Classic is awesome. Except like when you have like 3 people in a DM and you're managing 12 characters at the same time, and the party is just this like enormous gaggle of villagers. It's equally fun, but like they die so fast it usually doesn't
Clearly,
matter.
you need to do it where you go in like a teams of 3 and you have a different character for each team, and whichever
Yeah,
teams make it to the end. Maybe.
No, they die for like when you only have 1 or 2 hit points, everybody dies pretty fast because you don't get a class at the very beginning. Anyway, we've taken way too long to answer this question, so let's go and jump into our main event because everybody's going to have tuned out at this point because we've been talking about D&D for too long. And thank you, Stuart, so much for your question. I'm glad we got to it. Let's go and talk about the Torchlight Brigade. So what aren't we going to talk about? We're not going to talk about authorized bounty hunters, beast hunter free guild, kappas, psychops, raven eye, lambdas, war cores.
No, I think we should brush over them because
I think what we'll do is we should reference them when we talk about combos. You know what I mean? But like we don't have to do a deep dive on what we think about them, I guess is what I was going to say.
Kappas are AVA 1. Moving on.
Yeah, or the remotes. Exactly. Yeah, because they're replaced by the silver stars instead. And they don't have all their profiles available too.
All right. Well, I'm going to talk about the kappa in that you should always take him as a hacker. Yeah, good 12-point guy. Perfect. Moving on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was going to say authorized bounty hunters, AVA 1, they've got all their profiles. Beast hunters have the 3 core profiles, so not obviously the Yu Ching one, also AVA 1. Kappa's AVA 1. Yes, the hacker is the cheapest, best hacker in the game. Because he's whip 13, shock immune, but AVA 1. So let's dive into our first light infantry because we're going to do these in order, and it's the Ment. So tell us about the Ment, Dan.
Right now he's an auto include because he's got biometric visor. No, wait, that's not. He's got chain of command,
and he's cheap as shit. He's kind of Cho priced. I guess he's basically Cho.
Cho is 20 points as chain of command, 15 points normally.
So this guy's 15 points base, but he's not cyber masked.
You can't hide him as well, or hide her. It's a female model.
Okay, sorry.
But here's the thing: BS12 stealth, and it's heavy riot stopper +2 burst and assault pistol.
Mm-hmm. It's a no joke brawler. A burst 3 heavy riot stopper is friggin' crazy. That's very nuts.
If you're fighting like a bounty hunter, who cares?
Yeah.
But if you're fighting like a tag, no tag wants to get hit by 3 heavy riot stoppers.
No, not at all.
No, like it's like a Hector or to kill anything like that, where it's like, okay, if I dodge, then I don't kill, and it's just a nothing.
But one of these 3 dice is going to roll low, and I'm stuck.
Right, and it's just like the moment you get stuck, you're just like anything high value with multiple wounds that's hard to kill, and that's what heavy riot stoppers are designed to kill. And when you have 3 bursts, it's just mwah. It's just, no one wants to deal with it. So it kind of just, you can sit it in the side of the board and do nothing, and it's like, hey, it's going to be annoying to come fight me chain of command, because they're all chain of command. So if you see on the board, you know it's a chain of command. It's kind of like
and we'll come back to that when we talk about the lieutenant options for this faction, right?
But but at the same time, there are hidden lieutenant options in this list, which we'll get to soon, where the Ment can be, chain of command is a specialist, and so you can do objectives and brawl with it or whatever, or if other things are dying, like it's perfectly as a order monkey, but it's also good as a specialist and fighter. So it's
he's kind of like a weirdly flexible. He's like a weirdly flexible Raven Eye.
Yeah, as an AVA 1, I think he goes in every list.
Yep. I was gonna say, actually, I think the first 3 we'll talk about when we get to our like list ratings, but I think the first like the Beast Hunter, Kappa, and Ment are actually all like auto includes. Like I love that 36 points for a Mind Layer, that hacker.
Probably. So there is an option to take it as a hacker. You go to light shotgun and drop the heavy riot stopper.
Yeah, but it makes you vulnerable to getting killed then.
But then it makes you a hacker, just a regular hacker, nothing else. You're stealth hacker, which is kind of neat, but for the extra 20 points and half a SWIC, probably not worth it. Yeah. And there is the option for the same amount of points. You either get assault pistol, heavy riot stopper +2 burst, or light shotgun pistol. Yeah. And so I think the heavy riot stopper is just much better option.
it's definitely something people don't account for. So what about the side cop? We got an AVA2 side cop. He's the same side cop profile, like
Yeah.
core stat wise.
All the exact same profiles, nothing
Yeah.
new here. You can take him as a what's it called, a wild card. You can take two of them as wild cards.
And that multi marksman with MSV1
Yeah.
and the I don't necessarily love the Discover +3 biometric visor one, but it could be cool if it's in a fire team because you can get up to Discover +6, which makes you a Whip 19 Discover model all of a sudden. It's kind of cool.
Bad. The main strength of the Psychop is specialist objective, min-3, and you can have MSV1 with a multi-marksman rifle.
He's like a
25
discount Epsilon kind of.
Yeah, so for just 25 points, he could be a solid lead kind of point man for a Harris or even for it's a solid model, not a must take by any means, but I always go back to looking at them. I love them in O12, in both vanilla and Starmada. I think it's a wonderful model. But
the killer hacker is kind of cool too because you can cyber mask, right? And then he's got a min-3 cyber mask specialist op that's got a combi rifle and a +1 burst nano pulsar. So there's a kind of a neat thing there too. He's pretty cheap at 22 points.
22 is not too bad.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Raven Eye
competition these days.
Yeah, we do love that Raven Eye, don't we? So let's talk about the Raven Eye because I don't think that the other factions get a +1 order Raven Eye lieutenant.
No. So basically, Raven Eye used to be there's 12 points. You either take him with cyber mines or EM mines, and there was a lieutenant option which had the EM mines, but also 12 points, and that was it. That was it. Now they've gotten rid of that basic lieutenant option and added two new options. One is a chain of command with as 19 points. So the same basic EM profile, submachine gun, EMRAT, flash pulse, EM mines, but now it gets hollow mask. So you can get a chain of command for 19 points, which is still cheaper than Cho.
Yep.
So if you're used to taking Cho as a chain of command, then you just get a 1 point go down, and you get hollow mask, and you can hide them, and they can link in your main Silver Starfire teams. Not as a core choice themselves, but they can be added on pretending to be something else. And then for 16 points, you get a lieutenant option. So same exact profile, everything, also hollow mask, but then you get lieutenant +1 order. So this is the only lieutenant that gets +1 order in the faction. So if you have two lieutenant orders, then you know that there's a Raven Eye hiding being an imposter of something in the list.
Yeah.
But it could be linked, it could be not, it could be hanging out, it could be anything.
And what are our NCO options for those orders?
So the NCO, we'll get to them, but there's a decent amount actually.
Yeah.
Just going over them briefly, and they're not all terrible. So you get the Vidoc, which is a new one we'll talk about. And every single profile gets the NCO for the Vidoc. And so you can do options there. You can have a doctor or a camo sniper or a linkable sniper or the jackboot. There is one jackboot with Spitfire that can be an NCO. Sonya, which is a new character, can be an NCO, also a lieutenant. And the new basically Samus Aran or Jamie Arantes rather. This is your size 4 guard piece that has an NCO profile or lieutenant.
Right.
And then my favorite NCO is Strider, because their NCO, their min-3 for deployment, no wounding cap, and camo.
Nice. Well, the Lambdas are also in here. AVA2, they're your basic doctor engineer, so you have access to them, but there's not much else to say about them. And then we just talked about the Vidoc, so let's go a little bit deeper into that guy, because he's a BS13, min-3, NCO, stealth, terrain total. And the 3 NCO or the 3 FTO options are the doctor, the boarding shotgun, and a multi-sniper with MSV1. There's also a camo surprise attack one with MSV and multi-sniper rifle, but they're not linkable. So that Vidoc being a wild card, does he have a keyword?
For linking? No.
Yeah, no. So he's going to be best in a Harris probably, but that does give you a multi-sniper rifle that can eat 2 orders if you take that sweet Raven Eye there. What do you think about this Vidoc?
I've only tried him as the camo sniper. I like having a camo sniper just because there's so much camo and mine laying in this faction. Like all the Raven Eyes have mine layer
Hmm.
built in. So even when you bring something as a holomask, all the holomask still has mine layer. And so you're putting out if you take two Raven Eyes, whether you're showing them or not, you get two camo markers in your deployment. And so you can put those on rooftops, just hanging out, pretending to be a sniper or something. And you can play kind of a pretty good shell game with this faction. And so
Right.
you can blanket camo markers everywhere. And then one of them might be that Vidoc, but it also might not be. And so then just having the surprise attack multi snipers are great. They're BS13, and having NCO means if you're taking that Raven Eye, you're just picking fights that you want after other things have been destroyed, and so you just get those nice lieutenant orders, either relocating the sniper to where you want it to be, or sniping out some stuff that you need on.
And they're only AVA 1 though, so you kind of have to do one or the other, right? Like you don't get to pick both. What do you think about this guy, Owen?
MSV sniper with mimetism is always good.
Yeah.
I don't know if he actually makes it into like any list other than to follow a tag and give the tag NCO.
Ooh, that's not a bad idea because he's wild card, eh? Yeah, you can put him with the wrecker. Yeah. Yeah,
because like the jackboot can do it, but he's way more expensive, and he also is wanting to do the same job as the tag. But like bringing him as like dirt cheap NCO man for 19 points and having him follow the wrecker around, I think is the way to go.
Because the record doesn't have anything that reaches past 32, and if you take the Spitfire, he only reaches to 24. So it's not bad to have that 42-inch range, like range band all of a sudden on there.
Well,
too.
even if you
an option.
don't take him as the sniper and you just bring him as like the 19
boarding shotgun. Yeah, take the boarding shotgun.
Because he's got stealth and he's got mimetism and BS13. So he's if your tag runs into a situation that you don't like, oh, they reveal a hacker or they do this or they do that, all of a sudden the Vidoc's like, oh, I'll deal with this. Hop, 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 shotgun, problem solved.
The doctor gives you a specialist to go with that tag too. So the tag goes and clears something, you get the specialist just dragged along to go do whatever the next thing is.
Yep, you could do it that way too. Like there's a couple choices there. I like that one in particular just because it like we'll get to it as we go further down, but this army is more invincible army than it is anything else. And so like you're going to be real careful about where you're spending your points on anything that isn't sitting in that HI column.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. But that's my thoughts on Vidoc. Like, if I wasn't going to bring the boarding shotgun like cheapo guy, I'd probably bring the camo sniper for the reasons that Dan laid out. Like if I was going to do it, he'd be that guy because MSV plus surprise attack plus camo. Like, hey, what was he called? What's the guy in Nomads? The one who used to be iconic for having this?
Who, the Intruder?
Intruder was like the guy. He was like the best thing in N3 because he had MSV and a camo. And then they're like, yeah, me too.
that got passed around a little bit.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, no, I hadn't thought of using him with the wild card as a duo with a tag, and that's a really smart play. The Warcores obviously are in here. You get both the Warcore options, and then we're into Jack Boots. And they're only AVA 1.
Here's the guy fighting for his existence, though.
Yeah, this guy's weirdly positioned for an AVA 1 model.
Even if he was an AVA 1, it's just a weird spot where you're paying 24 to 31 points, and your armor 3, you have immunity total, but you only have 1 wound. So it's kind of like you could take a Panzerfaust to the face, but if you just fail that one save
and then just die,
then it doesn't matter. And so it's like you kind of want him. But he's not enough points. It's really weird. Like the Spitfire option for 31 points, slightly expensive, only BS12. You can put him in a wild card, so you can put him as a point man. But but it's
And he's
just,
armed 3. Like he's not tough, right? He's a 3/3, so
Yeah.
he's relatively durable.
like
with
being
total
immune
immunity.
to flash pulses. Like if there's a
Yeah.
flash pulse bot in a war core, you can just ignore them as you walk up the board.
Just go scalp him out. But 31 points is spendy in this army because you're looking at a lot of 25 to 30 point models.
Even in the 20s is spendy. I wish that this guy was half his cost and half his gear. If he was still TI, but
I think
only
if you
had
just
the combi and was
I
like
think
13 points or 14 points, I'd be like, this is a neat model. Like he has like a gimmick. He's immune to stuff, but he's not going to just beat you up. Whereas this is like, I'm trying to do too much and now I'm being outpaced by specialists.
And the Vidok is the same, is cheaper than me and can have a camo and an MS, you know what I mean? Like, and still has NCO. Like there's a bunch of things competing for his slot. So I think you're right. I think he's just awkwardly designed, and there's stuff in this list that kind of fights for his job.
I think if you are taking them, you're taking the 24.1. That's a damage 14 combi rifle, +1 damage, and then you get a light ride stopper and a flash pulse, and then you're a specialist.
Just wait till you go one step down and we talk about the Cludger, because like
he's basically the same points.
He takes the jackboot and he's like, oh, I'm you, but I'm super jump mimetism. And better BS, and better whip, and better
and
BTS,
also a wild card,
and also a wild card,
and also can be and also I have an engineer, so I can rub this tag's shoulders.
Yeah. Oh, you got a doctor? Yeah, me too.
Yeah, he's also 6'2", which means he can keep up with the tag, which is pretty cool when the tag's just moving and shooting.
And
BS13. Yeah, BS13. Total terrain. Yeah. Total terrain. Decent sets of like especially if you're doing classifieds, because like having D-Charge's engineer and having super jump train total, like he can get to whatever you want to do, a whole bunch of like classifieds.
Yeah, so I brought him as if I get in trouble with mine, or as like first turn, throw pitchers around kind of thing. Like he can go and do things. I heard in fun interaction of like, because the activators are such stupid equipment options.
They are dumb, but they do work well on pitchers, weirdly.
But
not as good as bullets.
No, bullets are still better. You're right. Yeah, I cast bullet. I guess that's true. Yeah,
you go one dice. It's like no.
I've always wanted to have one shot or 3. Sweet.
So this is
I retract my statement. I retract my statement completely.
If a deactivator changed ownership of the equipment,
if they went back to the way they used to be, that would be much better.
If you steal the repeater or you steal the mine or whatever, then they'd be cool. Otherwise, they're just useless. Whatever. But I think
it would finally shut down the hacking shenanigans where it's like, oh, you're gonna just spray pictures all over? Cool. We flipped that one to ours, and I put my killer hacker in there. Where are all your hackers?
That's right.
Oh, I have stealth. I'm not going to reveal until I know exactly which ones are there.
I mean, these guys are also Whip 14, Arm 2, BTS 6, and they're AVA 3, which means they're more expensive than your Lambdas.
They're also wild cards.
But they're all wild cards, exactly. So you can stick with anything.
They also get their own fire team.
They do get their own fire team, yeah.
So
and Hippolyta goes with them because she also has mobility, which is very interesting. So you could take 2 Cludgers and Hippolyta and like a Harris and have them go like beat things up. And the third one, that's true, yeah. Oh, but I guess if it's a Harris, it doesn't matter, does it, for being mobility? Actually, I guess it never matters for being mobility, ever. I don't know why mobility is even a tag. No, because you're only a Harris.
There's many of these. They don't make any sense.
No, but you get your
that doesn't make any sense.
Oh, you do get +3 discover. That is true.
Oh, I guess so. Yeah. Okay.
And your Whip 14. That means you discover 17.
All right, moving on.
14.
AVA 2 Nimrods. This is our MSV troop. Immunity shock, also super jump, also train total, also mid -3, also stealth, also 6'2", arm 2 BTS 6 with BS 13. Fizz 11, Whip 13. Not as good a whip, weirdly, but they're forward deployment on one and FTO on the other. The forward deployment's got an SMG, surprise attack, hidden deployment, but no camo. And then has shock mines. Whereas the Nimrod FTO has BS attack shock with an AP marksman rifle, AP heavy pistol, and a CC close combat weapon. What do you think about these guys?
So I love the FTO with AP shock marksman rifle.
Yeah, agreed.
Like 31 points is a little pricey, but you get MSV2, which is awesome. You still have mimetism. You have 6-2 movement with super jump, and you have stealth. And you have terrain total. And so you can just go anywhere with this guy.
Yeah.
And pick fights. And AP and the marksman rifle range is like you can beat up on combi rifles, you can beat up on heavy machine guns. Like you can really pick it, and because it's AP and shock, you can fight basically anything.
And he can hang with Hippolyta and a Kludger. So you could have a doctor, that AP marksman is like the fire team lead, and then Hippolyta throwing around eclipse grenades to put you wherever you want to be.
Yep, and 2 of them have super jump.
Hippolyta has super jump.
Oh, never. They all have super jump.
They all have super jump.
Yeah.
And they're all 6'2".
Mobility fire team.
That's right. And they're all 6'2", which is even funnier. So they are crazy fast and crazy mobile.
When they revealed the mobility thing, I thought Kludgers were going to be like a motorcycle or something. Turns out it's a super jump engineer doctor.
Yeah. Turns out it's the Super Mario Boots guys.
Yeah, no, but then the other Nimrod, I get confused about.
His stats are weird.
Everything stays the same, but his gun range goes to 0 to 8. And all of a sudden you're super you're gonna die to templates. I mean, your armor too, but you just peace trade, you suicide. You're a 29-point guy and you're gonna get killed by a peace trading template.
Well, you're hoping someone walks by you and stands next to you,
so you can get one
that
shot.
You can get one SMG. Yeah, so you can one SMG with surprise attack. Like it's just it's just a profile that's like awkwardly designed. Like it requires too much stuff to go right, I guess, kind of, or for there to be like a really specific piece of like objective on the table that you're going to stand next to that your opponent has to hold.
But not even a specialist. So like if you're holding him back, you're just kind of hurting yourself.
Yeah.
Like
no, the FTO is the one.
Yeah. I really like FTO. The other one, garbage.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, Sonia Lacroix, the Glow Pole Marshal, 6'2" move, CC 21, BS 12, but an X visor, which is nice. Fizz 13, Whip 13, Arm 2 BTS 6. Arm 2 BTS 6 is really common in this faction, I noticed.
Yeah.
And then Albedo, X Visor, Courage, Shock Immune, Martial Arts 1, Stealth, and Terrain total. And she's got a multi-rifle profile, it's Lieutenant, and then an NCO profile. So she's kind of just 3 flavors of the same thing, but the Lieutenant order gives you +1 SWIC.
I don't know if you need that in this. Maybe. I haven't built a list yet that uses all the SWIC.
I think you're wasting Albedo too if you're taking your Lieutenant.
I think you bring her to be the +1 SWIC, and then you just use her because you're littered in chain of command. So like, who cares?
True, yeah.
And you do it so that you can just really dig deep into HMGs and snipers because you have tons of them.
Yeah.
And what's nice is it's a Lieutenant and a Special Operative, which is kind of rare.
True.
So you can use those extra Lieutenant order.
And she's also a Silver Star fire team, so you can take her in a pure fire team if you want to.
You can build the Mega Hippolyta link. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she's not that expensive for she only BS 12, but she can tend to fight outside her range with the X Visor too if she needs to. And if you get link bonuses for a pure link, she's gonna up her BS through that as well. It's weird though, she's Martial Arts 1 with a shock CC weapon and CC 21, but I guess I don't know. It just feels like that's kind of bloat on her profile because Albedo has her wanting to do other things. But other than that, I think it's a fine profile. That CC and that martial arts just don't make a lot of sense to me. That's all.
I think the martial arts is pure defensive. If a monster CC comes out of the woodworks and wants to murder you, you don't want to fight Sonya in melee.
I'm just saying you're taking her to die anyway. You know what I mean? Like you're taking her to go kill with Albedo, and if she dies, whatever, like you got chain of command.
Also,
so
this faction has a shocking lack of CC.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like there's like one guy who's okay.
His name's Digger. His name's Digger.
No, he's amazing, but he's not this faction. He's better than everyone in this faction at CC by a wide margin.
I know. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, Sonya hasn't been released yet. I can see myself putting her in some lists. It'd be interesting to try out.
Fair enough.
But you'd be really choosing that. You'd be choosing that for the +1, and you're doing it because you didn't want to have the Raven Eye, because you specifically wanted insert your reason. Like I think
it's
she's
a gimmick.
in
It's an anti something gimmick.
she's in the double wrecker list. If you're gonna do it, that's the one.
Sure.
If I was gonna make one, she's probably my guy for that one because I'm gonna already be dumping 3 into them, and then I want all of the specialists around them.
So you want to have that extra SWIC, yeah.
I take it back. There was one list where I was running out of SWIG really fast, and we'll get to it, but Sonya could be used for that to get that extra SWIG. But
Gotcha.
it's one of some of the rems that take up
All right.
SWIG.
We're into the hacker profile then, the Wave Riders Cyber Combat Team. So this guy is a 6'2", so much 6'2" in this faction. CC 18, BS 12, Fizz 11, Whip 13, Arm 3, BTS 6. And you get AVA 2 of these guys. So min -3 stealth train total, all the flavors of hackers. So you get hacking device with upgrade Oblivion, hacking device with upgrade Oblivion, and then killer hacking device with upgrade Trinity +1 damage. And they're all armed with SMGs, pitchers, D-charges, pistols, and CC weapons.
I joined the Silver Star link as a killer hacker. Thank you.
Does he have the tag?
You bet he does.
There you go. There you go.
And he goes, I'm hanging out with my friend, Silver Star, who gave me Firewall.
That's
so
it.
by our powers combined, I hit you with my Mega Trinity. Thank you.
I shoot pitchers over there and kill you with Trinity. So he's kind of the 22-point killer hacker is kind of the he doesn't have the -3 except for now he's got a firewall, but he's kind of the the assassin Barid of his faction. He's a bit more expensive.
He's a 7-point more expensive and doesn't have the built-in and is a lower whip, but he's almost there, damn it.
But I'm saying he's the lesser Barid, but he's got that kind of Barid vibe where you can stick him in a fire team and have him do stuff because it gives him the 6th sense. It gives him all the things he wants.
Well, what's nice is if you put him in a pure fire team, which is not super hard to do, then he's BS 15 when he's throwing those pitchers.
Sure is.
And so the pitcher game is a lot
and
more.
pitchers
have
are
a positive.
And they have a positive still. So I was just going to say, so he's on 18s up to 16 inches, which means he can really lay pitchers where he wants them to be. And then
he'll throw 2 at the same time.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like when you want to.
Just like a Barid.
Except Barid's not in a pure fire team.
No,
never.
So I feel like the 22.1 is definitely, because it's cheaper to try to get that. I think you bring him in the core. If you're gonna,
he's the core defense. That's what he's there for. He's there when my
if you're
opponent
not building the big core. What if you're not building the big core?
You don't bring him at all because the Psychop's just better.
Or you make a cheap core that's both versions of the hackers, so you have both kinds, and then whatever the cheapest Silver Star is to just fill out bodies to give him 6th sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
I'll experiment with him more when he comes out. It'll be a little while till he comes out, though.
Silver Stars aren't cheap, though, I guess. What else could you take besides Silver Stars that are cheap? What else?
We'll get there. The Hellblazer is the guy.
Hellblazer.
He is the solution.
Oh no, because you can but you could also just do 2 of them, a Kappa and a Raven Eye.
No,
right?
No, you want to because you want
to have the Silver Star or a Hellblazer in.
Yeah,
the core fire team.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, they have a mega Death Star list in this faction, like the ability to build like an ultra we'll get there as we get to the heavy.
A pain train. Yeah, okay. But we're on Diggers. We're in the heavy infantries. We all know him. We all love him. He's AVA 1. What can we say?
No special profile here, but he's special.
But he is special enough.
He didn't get to link, which is
he did
surprising.
not. No,
because like most of the times that they show up, they don't get to link, or they do get to link rather. Because like all the NA2 factions that have Diggers, they all link in all of them.
Yeah, so. But that's because they're NA2. Like I feel like that's just giving a heavy infantry it's linkable to that entire faction, right? Like it's not required here because there's stuff that is like I think it'd be overkill. He's too cheap to make him linkable.
He actually fights for his spot though in this faction.
Yeah,
like normally Diggers are just like stamp, but there's like too many 15 and 14 point guys who are actually good. Yeah, like normally you don't have that. Normally it's like, oh, I get a Ghulam. No thanks. I'll just take the Digger. But now it's like, did you want a Raven Eye? Did you want a Kappa? Did you want a Hellblazer? Did you want to like? There's like
that
list
and
of
Beast
people.
Hunter. Like there's a list of guys that are pretty great.
The
in that same
men,
faction,
like a whole bunch of them all fall into it. So for once, while he's probably still going to show up in every list,
I'd have him just for having the CC defense because he's just such a great CC in it, right? Like as a response piece, he's fantastic.
Oh no, I'm playing JSA and they dropped Shinobu and killed my tag. Well, Digger's here to break Shinobu's legs.
Strap your skates on, Digger. You're going in. So Hellblazers then, these are 6'2", CC22. These are weirdly kind of your martial arts guys. Are the big sword and shield guys in the box set, right?
Yeah.
BS 12, Fizz 13, Whip 13, Arm 3, BTS 6, 2 wounds, the real heavy infantry in size 2. Courage, dodge +2, shock immune, impetuous, martial arts 2, stealth. And then you get a light shotgun, Flammenspear, a SMG Blitzen pistol, and explosive close combat weapon. They all have explosive close combat weapons, sorry. And then a boarding shotgun pistol. But like 18 to 22 points. These guys are cheap as shit. They've got impetuous, which is funny, but they're also linkable.
Yep. They're.
What do we think about this guy?
I mean, they're auto includes. You're just going to bring them. You're going to bring a Silver Star Link because you will, because it's your only core.
Yep.
So you're going to do it. And they're a mandatory piece of that.
All three.
You
every
don't
game.
like, yeah, probably. Maybe at least 2. Like, I'm going to be surprised if you don't have 2 in every list. They're not.
You only get 2 in the box, so
Sure.
Getting that third one is annoying.
Yep, that'll be a challenge. I mean, they're the loser version of what are they called? Oh no.
While you're thinking of that, what's the main guys in military orders? Like
no,
that,
I'm not thinking of them. I'm
that are
thinking.
also
Teutonics. Teutonic
yeah.
Knights are kind of that guy.
They remind me of a Teutonic Knight.
Yeah, they're Teutonic Knights. Oh, they're Domarus. They're basic Domarus because
they're loser Cenobites.
They're kind of without Mim -6. Yeah, they're Cenobites.
They're Cenobites without Mim 6.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they're actually basically the same. Only they got a fine
explosive and explosive close combat, which is no joke.
I mean, yeah, the other side of DA, just like halfway there.
I really like the light shotgun Flammenspear one. It's the cheapest because it's like the explosive close combat weapon is where you shine.
But shoots templates.
But having a light shotgun, you got your template or hit mode or whatever at BS12, not too bad. But you also have the Flammenspear, which is the random awesome. Like, you want to burn to death?
The Flammenspear is it's a template, which means
watch out for my HMG-ish.
Yeah, watch out for the guy lying next to my guy on a rooftop where I shoot it and I just hit. And even if it doesn't hit the thing I'm shooting at, it hits all the guys around it all of a sudden, right? Like, that's a big deal.
Roll for fire. Yeah.
Yeah. Roll for fire at forever. And it's damage 14.
Yep. It's great. Flammenspears are awesome. I mean, the only problem is you run out of ammo. Like, that's literally the only issue with them.
All right, let's talk about Seamus.
Let's talk about Seamus.
Jamie Arantes, the Netroid Rover. Yeah, Samus.
Let's talk about copyright infringement.
6'2".
I like that they got rid of Samus. Do you like that? Because it had quotation Samus in the original leak. Or not the leak, but the announcement. It was Jamie quote Samus Arantes, and then they got rid of it. And it's like, what? It wasn't too on the nose. They also changed the icon.
Well, they did change the icon. I didn't realize.
Yeah, because it was the spinny ball before.
It was definitely just Samus's icon from Metroid. Like that one was like, okay, it's obviously Samus, right? Like that's the gimmick.
Yes.
And I was talking to Dan about it, where I'm like, Infinity has a bunch of these, right? Like there's the Suicide Squad in Morlocks. There is there's Van Zant, who is Matthew McConaughey.
Rain of Fire.
There is Rain of Fire, great movie. And then there's Achilles from Troy. And it's what's his name? Brad
Pitt.
And then this came out, and I'm like, oh, it's just another one. But like the other ones are not like obvious. Like
the other ones are parodies. It's the other ones fall easily into parody because they're people dressed up as those people in the Infinity universe. This is like they just took a Nintendo character and stuck it in the game.
Yeah. And
as someone who wasn't aware of all the other connections, you point them out, and I'm like, oh, that's so obvious now that you pointed it out. But when I was like learning all the profiles, I wasn't like, well, this one, just in the name and the symbol, you're like, I know immediately what this is.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Are you aware of the not very well received 2002 Dragons Invade the Modern World Reign of Fire sci-fi movie?
Yeah.
If you're not, you're probably not going to catch the fact that Matthew McConaughey is in
in Infinity. Yeah.
Are you aware of Nintendo? Are you aware of Metroid, one of the longest lasting video game franchises in the world? You might catch the Samus part. especially
Yeah,
because
you
the
might.
icon was the same, and now they've changed
Yeah.
it, and they've like pulled back on that. I mean, I think it's still over the top. Like the fact that this model is going to come out and there's going to be a Metroid on that model, like there's going to be a round thing with teeth that's going to be sitting with her as her guard. Like that that's what they're going to do.
So let's talk about
yeah.
the profile, because the fact that even it has guard we haven't even mentioned yet, because this is a size 4.
Yeah.
This is like a Veronin or a what's her
Daemonist.
name? Andromeda, Daemonist. Yeah. So it's CC 22 guard, but it's BS 13, Phys 14, Whip 14, Armor 4, BTS 9, 2 wounds, and it's size 4. So it's kind of awkwardly sized for what this thing is. Courage, decoy
it's
1.
the same as the other 3, right?
Yeah. Well, when we look at the profiles, though, it gets weirder. So dodge +2, forward deployment +8, guard, immunity to shock, martial arts 1, mimetism -3, terrain total. And there's an NCO with a plasma rifle, acrolat cannon, nanopulsar, pistol, shock CC for 49 points, or the exact same thing. That's lieutenant +1 order.
I think if you take them as a lieutenant.
Really?
Because of all your NCO options, you just get +1 order.
I think you take this as an NCO because of
I
the
do
Raven Eye.
too. Yeah, because the Raven Eye. I think that's my immediate instinct as well.
Oh, did you catch that it had decoy? Did you say that? And the fact that it's not a marker state, so you just need 2 of these?
You just need 2 of these things. Yep.
If the Daemonist doesn't come out with 2 of them in the box, this is the worst scummy thing that I think Infinity's ever done. Like,
I mean,
this would be the worst, actually, because like the fact that they've given both of them decoy with no marker state means that you need just straight up 2 of the models to play it, and I think that is real bad. And I have a feeling that they're going to be.
You could still use a size 4 marker and just say which one's which, right? Yeah,
you could.
Technically, you should
come out.
miniature, though.
They're going to come out with the miniature, and they'll be in a box with 2 others, and I'm going to go, "This is what you've done, eh?" Like maybe if Jamie comes out and it's in a box with like a digger and a yellow
something
jacket,
you want, something
like
you really
something that
want.
you could get more than 1 of, and it isn't like the end of the world.
It doesn't come with a Vidoc. You can only have 1 of, and you're like, why is this?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you the Jamie box, and it's got a Vidoc and a Nightshade. Ha, loser.
I'm hoping it just comes in a blister pack. I'm pretty sure it's just going to come in a blister pack or blister box. Blister box, what they said now. Yeah, it'll probably just come in a blister box. I don't see them not thinking about that.
I think what's the argument? An amazing model for the record.
Yeah. I mean, for stats wise, it's very interesting because it's kind of like souped up Andromeda. It's Andromeda with a do-over, right? Because it has mimetism still, but it's also
like 25 points.
No, she's 30, I think, but she's no wounding cap. She's kind of glassy. Like she's not arm 4 BTS 9.
Fair enough. What's crazy is
her thing is the problem with this thing is it's guard with a shit close combat weapon.
But here's the thing: when you're killing most people, it's like, but she's Phys 14, and
shock though.
Only martial arts level 1.
Yeah, it's defensive. Like it's not
purely defensive. Yeah,
you're not like Andromeda where you slap them with a D charge. I'm a forward deploy plasma rifle.
Yeah.
Now, why did they give her the Acrolat cannon and not a Panzerfaust? Because like Samus has a missile, right?
Keep her points down, maybe. I don't know.
Look, we're all gonna accept that this is just Samus from the video game, right?
Okay, sure. She has a missile.
Like
you're right.
The mechanic, like why isn't it a missile? It's the first upgrade in Super Nintendo. It should have been a missile.
Yeah.
A Panzerfaust would have been not too crazy because then it's not like a missile launcher or something.
And it's an upgrade, so like you only get to fire a couple of them.
Right. And so is the Acrolat cannon, which is in the same boat. It's a weird combination there. I don't know. I think you don't bring this in general. If I was gonna bring her, it'd be it as an NCO.
Yeah.
But like, hey, you can't link with anyone, and this is a sectorial. And what do we get? Links.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Not wrong.
She kind of wants to just do her own thing, but she is hackable.
I mean, she's super resilient to it, and like you could fairy dust your heavy infantry, and she'd be on her way. Like BTS-12 effectively is real good. Like that's the Avatar and the what's his name, Yodam. But
I mean, the last thing you want to be doing is resetting when you're moving up the board or giving them free hits, even if it's low chance.
Also, screw the plasma rifle. Let me tell you about Silver Star Prime, who is the next guy.
Okay, yeah, let's just jump into Silver Star Prime. You're not wrong here.
I think Jamie's too expensive. It's a really cool profile, but I think it's too expensive to fit into, for example, the next slot, which is only
Okay, if I was going to bring Jamie, I would bring it as an NCO, and then I would forward deploy in the middle of my board, and I would use my command token to go in suppression with my plasma rifle. That would be the play.
Yeah.
Top of one,
Yep.
and just kill
Agreed.
anyone who comes towards me. And I've got guard, so if they try and sneak up on me, I just hit them with guard.
Yep. And I've got backup. I've got backup kind of like defensive power and yeah, exactly.
There you go.
And a chain of command somewhere. So if I'm not taking NCO.
Dismissive version.
Agreed. All right, let's talk about our boy Silver Star Prime. This is the most talked about profile in this release. AVA2, 6'2", CC18, BS14, Fizz 13, Whip 13, Arm 5 BTS 9, 2 wounds, size 5, he's a big boy, and AVA2. And then all the stats that make the Krees of Borax sad. MSV1, BS attack, -3, which means anything face-to-face with his guns is at an unstoppable -3. CC attack +1 damage, courage, immune shock, and built-in tack aware. Now, including him will take out the O12 prestige order from your army, but yeah, you get this. And he's got a heavy machine gun +1 damage, making him damage 16, heavy riot stopper, heavy pistol, and a shot close combat weapon, and he's got a lieutenant option, but they're the same basically.
I don't think you're ever taking this guy as your lieutenant.
Nah,
unless
there's
you
no
really
point.
wanted to save a Swick and you didn't build a list around Sonya to do it.
Yeah, and having half a Swick, yeah. So
Yeah,
what do
if
we think
you
about
have
this
the
guy?
Swick, yeah. I mean, he hasn't done anything in my games.
I accept why they didn't make him a part of the core fire team.
Yeah.
But the fact that he has Silver Star in his name is this is like what is it? Oh no. NCO of the snipers.
Oh yeah.
This is the same kind of
Yeah,
I guarantee you
when they call him an
mistake.
NCO, yeah.
And he's like, I brought my Silver Star link, Silver Star Prime, Silver Star Hellblazer, Silver Star this, Silver Star Rover, and you're like, oh yeah, that's not a pure link, but they're all Silver Stars. It's like, well, he's asterisk Silver Star. He's not.
He's prime Silver Star. He doesn't know how to do the Silver Star dance.
Yeah, despite his name,
he doesn't play well with others.
He is a very good hitting piece, though. I'd say stick him in a Harris because he never gets the big bonuses anyway, and just let him rip with the damage 16, burst 5. Doesn't care about your mods because he's MSV1.
So I think putting him in a 5-man, and the one game where we actually got to do things like as basically the 5-man is you put him as the point man, and he just walks up at 6'2". He can move quite fast from corner to corner and fight really fast, and then you just have the other 4 people follow you up.
So I didn't bring this up to you before, but Hippolyta is the point man of the Silver Star team.
Yeah,
as much as I talk trash about
you
Hippolyta.
take the Prime and Hippolyta.
No,
but if you take Hippolyta, it's a pure team.
So my thing, Dan, is I actually think the Silver Star Prime is the most. I actually don't think it's a hitting piece. I think it's the most horrifying anchor defense piece imaginable. Because it's got its own tack where to go on suppression. Yes, it's a suppression guy. You stick him in cover. You have him fight the entire world. He doesn't care about pitchers hacking him because he's BTS 9. He's just
got
on
MSV,
suppression.
So he doesn't care about your mimetism.
Exactly,
and he has at least -6 to shoot at. No counter.
He's unless you're marksman, he's -6 unstoppably.
With marksman, he's still because suppression is -3.
I know,
and
no,
then
but
he's
that's
-3.
He's -9 otherwise, right? Because
that's what I mean.
Yeah. So it's unstoppable -6, but goes to -9 if you don't have marksmanship. So like he is a shockingly hard piece to move. Arm 8 in cover, BTS 9 against all your when you can fairy dust him to 12 if you want to have him never go anywhere, and you just have him fight the entire world. Because it's so hard to dislodge this guy 24 inches. So he uses his shockingly good speed to get him up table with a good firing position. And then you just throw him in suppression and be like, all right, let's just go until I'm dead. I will happily stand here and do whatever. And he basically pays for the orders to do it for himself.
That's my argument as well.
Yeah.
I think he's a good solo piece. I don't think he actually makes sense. Because the Kludger Nimrod team or the Silver Star team, or if you want to do a Harris of Silver Stars, sure. But those guys all are doing stuff, and he doesn't need to do anything. He can just a Silver Star HMG is going to do basically as good. But the Silver Star HMG, I should say the Rover, because they're
Yeah.
all Silver Star. But the Rover
Yeah, yeah.
HMG is the same guy, only he doesn't have the CBS attack -3, but he'll get a pure link bonus.
Yep.
Which is just better. Like, I'd rather give myself +3 more to hit with a million dice than give you one more -3.
Yep. In any situation where there's a go get something or there's a you have to pass through this zone, this guy will be an absolute nightmare. So I think he's mission specific, but I'm with Owen 100%. I think he's a solo piece, and his whole thing is just to be an absolute anchor that you cannot move. Like the Avatar would have a hard time fighting this guy. Everybody has a hard time fighting this guy. If they get into like if they get into a position where you can't approach him outside of 24 inches, really, so you keep him on ground level and you just throw him on suppression like supplies. You know what I mean? You can see 2 boxes, or you can see the approach 2 boxes, and you have to like go by this guy. He's so hard to move, and he's such a mod stack that like nobody wants to fight him.
Yeah, and you can isolate him, not too bad, but carbonating him, you have to roll a 1 to 4.
Yeah, and if you got fairy dust or something up too, like it's very hard to do. Because remember, fairy dust makes him BTS 8 even if he's against like an AP ammo. So because you had the +3 afterwards. There's a lot of like
isolating him doesn't do anything about suppression. You know what I mean?
Doesn't change anything. Yeah, he doesn't
isolating doesn't do anything to him because he's got his own order, or he's got his own 2 orders.
2. He's got 2 because he's tack aware.
So who cares if you're isolating him? It's mostly if you have to carbonate him.
Yeah, I think the first guts impression everybody had where they're like, he's a hitting piece. I'm like, I don't think he's a hitting piece. I think he's a rock. He's an anvil. You can beat your face against him all day. You have a hard time shutting him off.
If anything can get up, he
sure.
can shoot his way into position.
He can reposition it. Yeah, exactly.
This is how I was using him. He was point man on the 5-man team. You get him into position, and then he suppresses, and then you have a 4-man team halfway up the board that can do all the stuff that you
sure. Yeah, that too. I think he just ends up being a solo operator at some point. That's my guess.
You want him on suppression in an annoying spot. I agree.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the biggest and longest profile then. The Rovers. These are the Silver Star Rovers. Also 6'2", which is like a theme in this army. CC 16, BS 13, Fizz 12, Whip 13. These are all heavy infantry, so Arm 3, BTS 6, 2 wounds. Courage, Dodge +1. They're AVA 5, so you can get a full team of them if you want. Immunity, Shock, and Specialists. They're all Specialists. I actually hate that because that is so many Specialist kills that this fire team gets wiped out in all the missions and score Specialist kills. I am not a big fan of them all being Specialists.
This is classic 012. 012 has Specialists up the wazoo.
They just give away Specialists. Yeah.
It's so hard to get away from it. And so whenever there's
there's like 4 missions that have that.
You just give up those points. You just don't.
Sure. And I guess the ones where you exit them, it's an advantage, but it kind of inflates their point cost too, because the cheapest one's 28 points. This is the Combi FO.
Before you go talking about inflated points costs, compare my good friends, the Silver Stars, to the previous heavy infantry hero, the Zhu Yang. Because if you go back and forth between these two,
I guess you're right.
Stars are like 1 or 2 points more, and they're just better. They're just better across the board. Right. They have better stats. They have better rules. Like, they're better armed. Yeah, you're paying like a 2-point premium, but you're all Specialists for no reason. Like, oh, our Tinbot's only 3. Yeah, well, congrats, you got a Tinbot 6. I'm also a Specialist, and also.
They also all have offhand light ride stoppers, which is nice.
Which is better than nothing that the Zhu Yangs mostly get.
Yep, and they've all got +1. They've all got +1 burst heavy pistols, which means they actually weirdly melee well because they get burst 2 melee.
But they're only 60-16, so
it's still 2 shots. 2 dice is better than 1 dice.
Yeah, dude. If you want to bully somebody in melee, you just can.
If they're not a melee specialist.
Sure. But what I'm saying is, if you dodge into combat with a tag, all of a sudden
this guy's got a better chance against a digger than most CC specialists.
And they're damage 14 half armor because they're heavy pistols, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
Well, which is better than their Fizz. It's better than their Fizz and it's AP, right? Yeah, there's a bunch of reasons to do that. So then you get a firewall option on a combi 2. You get a multi-rifle option. It's just 2 points more. Paramedic option. You sure?
Yeah.
What is that?
Oh, they're just damage 14. I thought they're AP as well. Okay, never mind. So paramedic, they're shock. Oh, weird. Combi rifle paramedic 2, a lieutenant option with a multi-rifle, a tack aware one that also combines the firewall, and then a missile launcher and HMG.
They're just Zhu Yangs, but better.
They are just Zuyongs, basically. Yeah, they're basically just Zuyongs.
Like Tack-aware HMG Zuyong is 37 points. Tack-aware HMG, this guy is 39 points. And all he got was specialist operative, better BTS, better, and like, oh, one less CC.
And they all have courage. Zuyongs don't have courage.
True.
Oh my God, you're right.
Courage is
They get number 2. These guys all get specialist
And courage, yeah.
and courage, which is great. Which is really
So you're dipping in on probably the HMG is a nice hitting piece if you want like a forward advancing hitting piece. I don't know if I take the missile launcher, but definitely the firewall. The firewall is I think pretty key important piece for putting those wave riders and the Kappa hacker in with.
You get 3 in a box. Right now I've just been taking the 1 as the Tinbot combi rifle.
Sure.
And the light ride stopper actually did well the other day. Where it was like, I'm gonna fight you. I'm like, light ride stopper. And uh-oh.
No,
I mean, that's the other thing too. If someone walks into you with a CC weapon, you riot stopper as ARO, you probably live with 2 wounds armor 3, and then you hit them with your double pistols while they're stunned, and then they're dodging at -6, and you're hitting them on 16s.
Sure.
Yep.
Right. So like that's the answer to someone engaged you. I mean, I guess you could step back and just shoot them, but maybe that's not an option based on whatever. It just
They're Mim
they
6
have
or
that.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, you just melee them at 2 burst 16, which is solid. I think
You've
these
got
guys are great. They're not going to make up the majority of the Silver Star link, but you're probably bringing 2. You're probably bringing the HMG tack aware, and you're probably bringing the firewall tack aware, because why not? Like,
I'd agree.
70 points, and you get double specialist, you get double tack aware, you get pure link.
I'm slightly sad that there's no like AP HMG or anything like that. You get the
well, you get 8 other guys with mega guns, so
it's
that way.
It's fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the Strider then. We've got this is back to weirdly the scouting unit is 4/4. But this is a camo unit, so we got CC16, BS12, Fizz 11, Whip 13, Arm 3, BTS 6, and it's heavy infantry. But only has 1 wound because it's a no wounding cap heavy infantry. So it's one of those weird like light heavy infantries. Camo, forward deployment 8.
His name is the Zen Cha.
Basically,
they're almost identical.
They are almost identical. It's shock immune, mid -3, NCO. This is one of your NCO options. No wounding cap, stealth, surprise attack -3, and terrain total. You've got a specialist operative that's SMG, shock mines, decharges, pistols, and then another version that's also a mine layer. You got a mine layer deployable repeater as well instead. These are just the 3 like all the same options, and then an FO that's a light shotgun and a Red Fury option as well. The Red Fury option though drops all the mines and decharges and stuff and just has a pistol and a close combat weapon. What do we think about Striders?
I really like it.
He's unlinkable, which is worth noting.
He's your go push the button guy.
He's camo.
He is.
So
yeah, he's a decently tough camo.
Like I said, you get to place a lot of camo. When we get to the Rems, there's lots more camo.
He's literally just a cheaper Zhengxia.
And you get to play shell game because you get the mine will have the same mim as him, so you'll have 2 cam markers that are identical.
Like the Zhengxia has infiltration and climbing.
This guy's got forward deploy 8. He doesn't have climbing plus, but he gets NCO.
But NCO is amazing.
He's also like up to 15 points cheaper than the Zhengxia.
He's also a midfield deployable repeater, which means you can start with a turn 0 repeater out, which is huge.
And he also has the ability to move up and put that repeater down unopposed to set yourself up. And you have access to a murder hacker, like the Wave Rider Cyber Combat guy with his +1 damage Trinity and the ability for this guy to basically guarantee a repeater gets put down. Actually, he does guarantee it. There is no counterplay to
There's no counter to play with
move, and then move plant repeater. And there's no set way to stop that.
The annoying thing is that he's also hackable while placing down the repeater.
Except for that he'll be camo until he places it down.
I mean, if you're like trying,
and he can just mine lay it.
Yeah, he could also mine lay it off the start first.
What I'm saying is, if you're walking up to put a repeater so you can hack another guy.
Yeah. If only he was only BTS 6 heavy infantry, and you can once again go like if there is a oh my god, this good. Faction is good. Such a replacement to military orders and invincible army. It's crazy to me. Like
okay.
if we get to the end and we start talking about the summary, it's like, oh,
But
Anyway, I think the mind layer options are great. I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
think
I take
both
the
the mind layers
specialist
are good.
options. I don't think I take the FO, and I don't think I take the Red Fury. They
The-
feel kind of ancillary. The Red Fury is like a hitting piece.
the fact that the mind layers are also specialists is crazy to me.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Like, if they had to choose, I'd have been much less like in favor of them. But the fact that they're just both,
well,
oh, okay.
With
They
4
require-
8, you just put 2 camo markers beside each other, and you're like,
Yeah.
one of them is going to go push a button, and the other one might kill you when you get near it.
Oh,
Which
also,
one?
I have 4 more of them.
And you can bring 2 of them. They're a
And
bit
then you
pricey
can
at 30
bring-
points,
And
but
you have your Moonrakers.
I think
And some armies are just going to completely fold to having a deployable repeater next to central objectives and stuff like that. Like, think about the fact that you can basically put a repeater at +8. You're talking about a 20-inch, which means that the hacking range of that repeater is going to go 8 inches past. So it's going to go
4
4
inches
inches
past
into the
that.
other side of the table.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, 8 inches up afterwards. So, like, if you're playing a room mission, you just start with a repeater on the room, basically, the whole room.
is it that far?
Yeah,
Yeah,
because it's, well, most
No.
of the room missions are also exclusion zones, so that'll probably stop you. But the fact that you can be 20 inches up, place the repeater, and then the repeater stretches to 28 inches across
Exactly.
the middle, it means on missions like,
No, yeah,
I don't know, last launch.
supplies, last launch. Yeah, exactly.
Like, or B-Pong. Like, I guess B-Pong, it also has an exclusion zone, so these are reducing it, but I don't know. I think he's great.
They're heavy infantry Morans. That's why I think they're great.
They're Zenchas. Zenchas are good.
Zenchas, basically, yeah.
They're
exactly.
cheaper Zenchas. They don't get
Yeah.
it. They don't get climbing plus and infiltrate. They gain mind layer and
Yep.
a better faction and NCO.
Okay, let's talk
And they
about.
have- actually, they have stealth, so they're
Yep.
fine through.
Yeah, they just wander
hacking
around.
areas.
To just walk around, do things.
They're good.
Um,
If you
drop
bring 1 or
for-
bring 2.
Depends.
Also,
Probably
remember,
0 or 2.
remember something about stealth is if you don't start or end in the hacking area, you can just walk through. I'm pretty sure.
Also, you can bait the hell out of your opponent by walking close to them and being
yes.
like, "Let me check my zone of control," and then you literally walk up to the edge of it and then put the repeater into the zone,
Yeah.
and you're like, "There we go, got him."
Yep. Exactly. So let's talk about yellow jackets. These are your transorbital jump teams. These are your combat jump guys. They are also kind of no joke because they're heavy infantry. So move 4/4. They are CC15, BS12, Phys12, Whip 13, Arm 3, BTS 6, 1 wound. They're AVA 2. So combat jump, dodge +2, shock immune, mid -3, no wounding cap, parachutist, stealth. They're Tiger soldiers.
Sure
The
is.
problem is that Tiger Shoulders get Spitfires.
Yep. You only get an SMG or a combi rifle, but
yeah,
a combi rifle is still pretty great.
I think D-Charge Specialist Man SMG for 25 points parachutist.
Yep.
Because there's like 2 classifieds that this guy can knock out just for showing up.
Sure can. Decharge a building. And I'll be honest, if you're combat jumping or parachuting in, you can probably get in range with that SMG. Like if you walk at somebody next to a tag with SMG, a tag's gonna have a bad day.
Unfortunately, he also suffers a bad case of the I'm not going to bring you.
No,
in my
probably
opinion. Like, he's not bad. Like, he's got all the things that you'd think that would make him good. But if you look at him, he's a 25 to 30 point model, and literally every single guy, with the exception of the Silver Star and Jamie that we've looked at, is a 25 to 30 point model, and they're all experts in their field. And this guy's like, I'm almost as good as a Tiger Soldier.
If he had a good scalpel gun on his profiles anywhere, I'd say he's got a lot of contender stuff, but he has to work to do what he does, unfortunately. The hacker might scenario-wise be useful sometimes because you can do a bunch of classifieds
His
and also be
Fizz
a
isn't
hacker.
high enough to risk a combat jump either.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, there
I
are
think
some
exactly.
missions where you get the guaranteed, so there's that. But
If he had gotten NCO, I would have done it.
There you go. That's a good point.
Because then he can show up from the side and he can do his job, and he can do it relatively cheaply because
I don't think he's bad. I think he's mission driven if there's a mission where he might fit, but I don't think he's like an include in every list.
no.
But heavy infantry on the other side of the board, heavy infantry near an enemy model, have D-charges. It's like 3 or 4 missions in the mission pack.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's
Sure.
solid.
Yeah.
He's
Let's talk about-
charged terrain, blah blah blah. Anyway.
Yeah. Let's just talk about record. The record, the tag, Owen's favorite thing. So
Love
my
this guy.
only like he's a size 6. So one thing, he's not a size 7 tag. So take that into account right away. 6'4", CC 18. He's only BS 13.
One second.
which was
I got
weird
to
to
bring
me.
up the Shakoosh. Sorry. Go ahead.
Shakoosh is BS 14 though. So let's go on. So
yeah.
Fizz
Ooh, all right.
14, Whip 13, Arm 6, BTS 9
Hey,
though, which is
hey.
crazy.
Do you know who's better at CC?
I know.
It's not the
I know.
Shakoosh.
Not the guy with the giant machete? Is it not the guy with the giant machete?
Not the guy with the giant machete in the melee
All right.
faction.
BTS 9 is pretty
Oh,
crazy. He's
damn
3
it, I
structure,
lose
size
again.
6. Yeah. He's guided -6, so no hacking defense. He's +1 damage. He's a tag, but he's got BS attack AP built into all of his guns.
Hey, you know
Which
who
is
doesn't
crazy.
have ECM guided -6?
The Shakoosh.
That's right.
All right. But he's fixed dodge 11, fixed gizmo kit 11, shock immune, remote presence, tack aware, and terrain total. So the BS attack AP is pretty crazy because some of his guns get kind of nuts. He has BS attack +1 burst on all of his guns on the first profile, which is heavy rocket, chain rifle, and then they're also AP. So a burst 3 heavy rocket that's AP, or a burst 2 chain rifle that's AP. But
And +1
AP
damage.
chain rifles and +1 damage.
And +1 damage. 14 with AP is a
That's an
monster.
insane chain rifle. That is
Yep.
an insane chain rifle.
Yep.
There's a Spitfire version that's not +1 burst, but the chain rifle still is, and an HMG version that's not +1 burst, but the chain rifle
Yeah.
still is.
The
But
AP
everything's AP.
Spitfire that he has
Yep.
is cheaper than the AP Spitfire on the Shakoosh.
It sure is. It's still only BS. I actually like the heavy rocket the best, I think.
Yeah,
It's
I
the
do.
cheapest profile. But having
Which
an
is
AP
great.
incendiary template that's burst 3 is kind of unhinged.
Also +1 damage,
also +1 damage.
which
So
makes
you
it
can-
damage 15 blast.
And
with AP.
remember too that we can link this guy with like an engineer and a bunch of other things, or your favorite Vidoc guy too, who can just go hang out with a multi-step rifle. if
Or
you
a
wanna have-
Ment with his 3 heavy riot stoppers. To
That's
provide-
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
provide cover.
Yeah.
He's got a Zetbot ancillary remote too if you want to disengage and just be a specialist. So what do we think about this guy?
Your faction can play tag lists. Hooray! Not everyone gets that, and you do. You have a
Yep.
good tag. He is a awesome tag, in my opinion.
He's awesome because he's really aggressively priced,
Yep.
and he has a bunch of like
Horror weapon.
he has a bunch of like weird, really good weapons. Like traditional tag fighting tactics don't work against this guy. And he doesn't like if he
Well,
tries to
he's-
fight another tag, he removes its cover and halves its armor with that
Yeah.
rocket launcher. He is horrifying at fighting other tags. His BS isn't great, but he just gets into a range band they don't like, hopefully, and then fights them. And it, if they're not suppressing
I mean, most
on
tags
1 dice to 3.
are HMGs, right? And so the heavy rocket launcher is the exact same range band as the HMG.
For sure it is, yeah. But I mean, there are some smaller tags that'll have Spitfires and stuff like that too. He can brawl out, right? So like the Agamemnon, or even like what's his name? Ajax, not Ajax, the new Ajax. What I'm talking about. Maximus. Maximus has only got like a AP marksman rifle. So there's some he will outrange that 32-inch range band, but all of them are losing their cover against the damage, and all of them are losing half their armor because it's AP. And then they have to keep rolling. Like the possibility that damage 15 rocket just kills them in one go if he lands one of them is not nothing, because they're having to roll 10s. You know what I mean?
And you
With
can't have
four
anyone
armor.
around you.
And he's also
Exactly.
BTS 9. Like, he, for no reason, is a better BTS than like 90% of the tags in the game.
Yep.
Like,
Sure
True,
is.
actually.
Like, he got BTS 9, which puts him in the absolute top echelon, competing with like the 2, 3 maybe. Like,
Mhm. I'd rather be BTS 9 than hacking -3. I'll be honest.
Yep.
yep,
And I can just walk through stuff. And if you fairy dust him, once again, he's gonna be BTS 12.
yeah. You will do this or the heavy infantry big link. So like you had, like before, when it came down to would I bring Striders? If I brought a wrecker, yes. If I didn't, no.
What about double wrecker?
I already made that list. It's all right.
No,
Like I
that's
got it.
okay.
I got my
didn't make that
double-
list. I was gonna say I didn't make that list for our list discussion at the end, where I'll get to pick a list because I assumed you'd already made that.
I
list.
got my double record, double prime list. Don't worry,
Yeah, you
it's
go.
here.
Attaboy. You never disappoint me, Owen.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're into the last stretch here because like there's fuzzbots. They're all
No,
the
there are
same.
2 notable exceptions in the pile of fuzzbots.
And fuzzbots. What do you mean?
Moonraker
Right.
Oh no! I know further down.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like we're speeding up now because we're gonna go through the remotes. The Kidda, which is AVA 1, so you get one flash bot. The Millicent, you get one missile launcher bot. Yeah, and then I'm just gonna finish off the remotes. You get 2 Okos, you get 1 Peeler, and then we're back up to the Moonraker, which is a weird new remote. This is a new size 2 remote, which is kind of weird. But it's a camo remote, so it's 4/4, CC14, BS11, Phys10, Whip 12, no armor, but BTS 6, 1 structure, size 2, AVA 2, and it's camo 1 use, courage, 4 deployment plus 8, immune shock, MIM -3, remote presence, surprise attack -3. It's a weird little heavy shotgun, ADHL, shock mines, Paris CC -3. It's like a little baby sonic butt.
He's a little Strider, is what he
only
is.
got heavy shotguns. I guess
Him
they
and-
need to launcher too.
Him and the Strider, they high-five one another.
But he's camo, not hidden deployment, so you can actually move this guy into like where you want to use a surprise attack from with a heavy shotgun.
Yes.
He's
But also-
and 4 deployment plus 8. So it's really easy for him to get up and like spray a fire team, or hey, there's that guy. Like you never want to fight a heavy shotgun in reactive turn because you're like,
You also
Well,
never
especially-
want to fight an adhesive launcher.
But I mean, a heavy shotgun at
Heavy
-9 with -9 with surprise MIM cover, right? If you can get somebody outside of a fire team, that's a lot.
but it's like, I mean, heavy shotgun is no joke, and he's a 16-point model because I think if you have the SWIC, you always deploy shock mines. And so if you take 2 Moonrakers and 2 Striders, you have 8 camo markers that are 4 deployment plus 8.
Well, he's not Mind Layer though,
The hell he's not.
isn't he?
Read his
Where?
other
16.1 he is.
Oh, the 16.1 is for 1 point.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Sorry, the
Like,
next
one
one.
more
down's Mind
point,
The
Layer.
half
best
a
part of him.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, for
Which
1 point,
is-
but it's also half an SWC, but he is Mind Layer. Then you're right.
Yeah.
It's
And this
like-
is where the conversation around Sonya showed up. And
Right,
this is
right,
how
right.
I'm like, you can definitely use up that SWIC by doing some funny stuff between Striders and
because you can
Moonrakers.
litter the middle of the board with camo markers. It's
And
funny because
these.
it's very hack and slammy. The middle of the board is just full of weird camouflage markers.
Yeah, but it's great because you don't know which one's the mine or which one's the Moonraker. They both have a template to hit you, so it's not safe going within 8 of either of them. But also one just might start walking up unopposed and then lay down a surprise attack shotgun. And it's like, do you want to shoot back? I can template you.
Mhm.
And it's BTS 6.
Oh yeah,
So like armor 0, you get hosed by weapons, but I had Mary Problems tried to hack me like 3 times, and they just bounced off of him as I killed his whole
Mhm.
backline. It was
I was gonna say also you
frustrating.
get that option to you do your surprise attack, and because you can't re-camo, the next thing you do is drop a mine around the corner and then dip back out with that shotgun and be like, which of these would you like? Right, like you have other things you
You
can do
can
with your
also do
mines
that.
later on. Yeah, he has either the surprise attack play with his shotgun, or he can also do the corner shooting with a mine, right? The order after that.
But basically, he's a really, really, really good trading piece that also gives you a mine that's 4 deployment plus 8 that your opponent has to
You
deal
can
with.
make a midfield mosh pit list with the ingredients in this list for sure, and he's an integral part of it because for 32 points you're getting 4 camo markers in the middle of the board.
And he's like the 9th guy who's sitting in that 15 to 20 point bracket. And again, this is what I was referencing when we talked about the jackboot further back. Where like,
Yeah.
are you ever going to bring a jackboot instead of this guy? Like,
Yeah, it's a
I don't
hard
think so.
fight. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
hard fight.
Then we get my favorite robot.
The Stormbots, which doesn't punch. I wish it did, but it's 6/4. It's the new size 4. So 6/4, CC13, BS13, Phys10, Whip 13, but Arm 3, BTS 6, 2 structure. And they're AVA 2. The repeaters automatically, BS tech +1 damage, courage, shock immune, remote presence. And we've got heavy rocket profiles, pulsars, and one of the heavy rockets is +1 burst, which I think is hilarious.
Notably the non-linkable one.
The non-linkable one, yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of just makes the point, I think, of the FTO one is it balances out that way.
Sure.
But he gets EM
Always get
lines.
3 bursts.
Exactly, yeah. Or you can take a combi rifle if you didn't want to have fun. But it's burst 4, I guess.
It's
expensive
actually
one, too.
just a short range Spitfire if you bring
Yeah.
the combi.
Yeah,
because it's
it
burst
is.
5 when you link him up. then it's plus
Short
1
range
damage.
Red Fury.
No, because it's plus 1 damage as well.
Yeah.
Spitfire's
So
a
it
damage
becomes-
14.
Oh, it does have plus
Yeah.
1 damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does built in. Yeah.
Never mind. The mini Spitfire.
All right.
So this is your
This
heavy remote. What do you think about this guy, Owen?
This is my boy who he teams up. So you remember how we talked about the mobility team with the Cludgers and how they're
Sure.
all engineers for 24 points?
Sure.
This guy joins them as the FTO, either combi or rocket. Both have an argument. Depends on how your Swicker doing. And you marksmanship him.
Yeah.
And he runs around with a BS-13 marksmanship, damage 14, burst 3 heavy rocket. Or he gets up close to you with his built-in repeater tag teaming your murder Silver Star and shoots them with 5 combis on 16s.
Yeah.
Damage 14. Zap.
Yeah. This is a little version of your Rudra. You love the Rudra for
Yeah.
the same reason. He's just this like little killy piece that's weirdly tough too.
Yeah.
This is just he's a cool Rudra basically.
This is where you run out of your Swick real fast when you take 2 of these guys.
Correct.
Yeah, they are very hungry. But
2 would
taking
be...
the heavy rocket that's linkable is pretty great. It's only 29 points, but you are gonna eat 1.5.
You could do a pretty cool defensive link of these 2 and 1 Cludger, because the Cludger's an engineer too. So
Mhm.
he can
Right.
be with the 2 of them, and they can just be Overwatch pieces with double tapping rockets.
Sure can.
Like there's something there, but I didn't think of that one right away. The first thought was marksmanship, rocket, Harris team. This is my B team. They're sitting at like 75 to 80 points. Not bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my thoughts
Agreed.
on the Stormbot.
Well, and then we're coming in. We got Udbots for 2, Nightshades that are the same as in the main 012 list. So these are your camouflage, hidden deployment. You like these guys, Dan? These were your boys
Nightshades
for
are
a
new.
while. Are they new?
They're
Oh, I'm thinking. What am I thinking of as a hidden deployment guy?
Razors.
I'm thinking of razors. That's right. Okay,
they're very
These are-
similar to a Razor.
that's right. These are very quite different actually because they're close range. I forgot. This is the other
These
one.
are the
This is
cat
the
people.
melee guys. That's right. Yeah. Move 4/4. And then CC22, BS12, Fizz 12, Whip 13, Arm 2. Only 1 wound because they're skirmishers. But AVA 1, and they're camo, courage, forward deployed 8, hidden deployment, martial arts 3, mid -6, stealth, super jump, surprise attack, and terrain total. And we've got SMGs on all but 1. There's a mine layer version. Both have, I think, shock mines. Nope, actually, the other one's got drop bears. The first one's drop bears, decharges, pistol, shotguns can open, and para -6. The mine layer has shock mines in decharges instead of the drop bears, and then the hacker has the same profile as the original SMG one, but is a killer hacking device. And there's a boarding shotgun that's
I like
just a
your
boarding
stuff.
shotgun.
That's
Yeah,
why it's so hard to cut you.
that's right. He's spendy at 30 something.
Yep.
He's kind of
I think the Strider just embarrasses him.
yeah. I think he's just too many points in this army. I think he might find a place in base 012 if he's available there.
He's got a really weird para CC weapon -6 with martial arts level 3.
Mhm.
So it's like he
and
can
only
disable-
Fizz 12. He'll be
Yeah.
Fizz 14 shock in melee. I guess he could just para you for a -9.
It's very in vanilla 012 you get access to both of these guys
The Razor and the
and
Nightshade.
the Nightshade, and it's
Yeah.
like they're basically the same amount of points, but the Razor is infiltration and a mine layer option.
Well, he also has hidden deploy, where this guy does not.
No, they both
It's-
have
This guy has hidden deploy.
Oh, he does have hidden deploy, sorry.
Yeah.
But he's
Yeah.
only
The-
he's only forward deploy 8. That's what
the
big
Nightshade
thing with
has
this guy-
super jump.
Yeah.
So super jump, it's only move 4/4, but super jump is super jump. Okay, so you don't have to get out of camo when you're super jumping.
so long as it's
The
the
big-
short jumps.
The big thing with this guy is if you got into melee with a tag with him, which you can do, he'll be -12 CC.
-9.
Surprise,
surprise
martial
would be
arts,
-12,
and
yeah.
para. He'll be
You can
-12.
neg 12 anybody. I
Yeah.
guess if they have martial arts, then no, it's only -9. But
But like anything that you're going to send him against, like a tag or like some kind of melee vulnerable piece, you're going to drop a -12 on it, and it's going to take a Fizz -6 from that para weapon. So like he does have a gimmick, but I think it's a gimmick. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you would need to be always worried about a very specific type of piece to take this guy and get his points out of him, I guess is what I'm saying. Right? Because like McMurrow's gonna look at this guy and go, what? Right? Like and just cut him in half immediately. Like
Galwegian's gonna look at this guy and go, chain rifle.
that's
Goodbye.
nice. That's cute.
Cool, you have a
Exactly.
-12. My name is chain rifle. Oh,
My name
shotgun.
is Peace Trade.
Yeah. Hello, templates. The game. I don't care about your 1 wound 30-point model. Like you just die.
Yeah.
He's also got B charge to slap on people too, though.
Sure. Yeah, he can do that at -12. Like I'm not saying it's nothing. CC. Yeah, I'm not saying it's nothing. What I'm saying is he needs a specific target. And he needs a specific target.
Deploy +8. If he had infiltration and had all of this, that's
and
a little
he beat
better.
a digger.
An active turn, maybe.
An active turn problem, maybe. He's got surprise attack.
He'd still put a -9 on the digger.
Yeah.
It's not nothing. Anyway, I just think he's too specifically meant to do a thing that he needs to have the right. He needs
if you don't have the right target for him, he does nothing.
Exactly. If you don't have the right target for him, he's like 30 dead points.
He also falls into the Toreg problem for me, where he is a 1 wound 30-something point infiltrator guy who just dies to a shotgun.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Mim 6, that's really cool. Be a shame if shotgun. Like, oh, I guess my big guy's dead because you can go, I walk up and I template you.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. The Razor has
dodge?
the same problem.
I do it again.
But I've had some success with the Razor. But as like a hacker, like late game kind of thing. And this one's only a killer hacker and isn't as far deployed and so I think it's just too pricey. It doesn't have a place in this faction as much. We could be wrong, but I don't think so.
I'd agree. And then last but not least, we got Hippolyta, and she's kind of a versatile point man with the all-important Eclipse grenades, and does all the jobs. So
we can do everything. This
is a faction I think where she's gonna shine. If I'm honest, she's pretty great in Steel Phalanx already, but because Steel Phalanx is like a company of heroes, this one's the heroes are just a little bit cheaper than Steel Phalanx, and I think she's gonna get a lot of like her with Hellblazers, you know what I mean? Like her with a bunch of people. She's got a lot of legs in this one.
Yeah, 5-team pure team is a pretty big deal.
Yep, sure is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she can be a 5-man pure team.
Oh, sure she can, because she's got all the keywords.
When we're the talk between her and the Prime, she's the leader, not the Prime.
Yeah, you're right.
She's
she only's got 0 to 16 range, but
whatever. Fine. You're all
grenades. And she can also eclipse herself wherever she wants to be on the board, because she's eclipsing on 17s with 2 dice every time.
But also because you're linked, you're throwing 2 eclipse grenades at a time.
That's exactly what I said. Yeah.
Huge amounts of area.
Correct.
There's no counterplay.
Yes. So when you were looking for a list, yes, when you were looking for a list to make this model work, this is the list.
And I've always loved Hippolyta in 012. She's just such a fun model. And so now
she's amazing.
To link her and stuff, I'm very excited to play more with Hippolyta. The last game I played with her, not in a pure link, just in a 5-man just running around, she was doing just bonkers good.
And sorry, if she's in a core link, she's throwing those on 20s.
No, your fizz doesn't.
No, you only get that for BS attack.
Isn't BS attack using? Oh, it's only if he uses the skill, BS skill, isn't it? That's right. That's
why
she won't get against
when you're throwing pitchers,
looking at you, flash balls.
That's right. Yeah, if you're using your whip.
It's a throw.
That's right.
You're going to use your fizz.
You're not wrong.
17s is fine.
17s is fine with 2 dice, yeah.
But then you can also extend, because you could throw it further on a 14, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. So I think it goes immediately. It goes immediately to -6 though. It's not. It does.
So it'd be 12s instead.
Yeah.
They switch immediately to -3 between 8 and 16. So you'd be on 11s.
Yeah.
Which
2 dice though,
fine.
so maybe.
2 dice on
you're going for the same spot. Do 2 dice and 11s. No big deal.
I do that with my smoke grenade launcher on my Celestial Guard all the time.
Yep.
But that's because you're bad. Okay, so so let's go through lists. Let's do lists. I'm gonna have Owen start because his lists are always the most fun. Mine's kind of boring, but it's fine. Let's see yours.
All right. 6 Swick, 300 points exactly.
Hell
11
yeah,
models. Where am I going to post this? Let's put it in the attack aware. I mean,
in the patrons chat.
Yeah, I guess. It's
Let's do
turned
it.
off right now, so it's like whatever. There
Okay.
you go. Here is my Torchlight Brigade, 300 points. Double prime, double wrecker. Oh, did I freeze?
I don't know. I
Double
can hear
prime,
you.
double record.
Everything froze. Never mind, it's back now.
Okay.
Everything froze on my computer there for a second.
Oh, okay.
But
Great.
so I've got Prime Hellblazer as my first duo,
Yeah, you
Prime
do.
Kappa as my second duo, Wrecker Vidoc as my third duo, Wrecker Ment as my fourth duo, a Raven Eye who will be something else, and then a Kiata and a Warcore.
That's so funny. So you have 4 duos?
4 duos, all of whom have tack aware, half of
Oh my
whom have
God.
NCO, and
So
yeah.
so the entire list has tackaware? Or just one model in each list has tackaware? Is it 16 orders, or is it
It
14 orders, or is it
is
16, or is it
so the
20?
primes have tack aware built in,
Yeah.
as do the wreckers.
Yeah.
The Vidoc has NCO, and I have 2 lieutenant options.
Yeah.
The Kappa doesn't, the Hellblazer doesn't. And
Okay.
then that's kind
So
of
this
where it
is
ends up.
17 orders and 11 models.
It's like 15 orders, 16, 17.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, there you go.
Um,
Nice.
And then
And what are the
Warcore
wreckers armed with?
missiles, obviously. Rocketed +1
Yeah,
bursts
rockets.
for both.
Okay.
We just do that. It works in every range band because you'll close in on them. The Videx and the Ment play defense against enemy hackers and repeaters that might nearby. You've got your little Kappa with his I can do objectives. And it's exactly the conversation we were having, where my primes
Right.
are going to walk up. They're going to catapult the Hellblazer or the Kappa into doing their job, and then they're both
Yep.
going to suppress.
And just dig
And
in.
then the wreckers are just going to slide around the board. The Ment is a chain of command to be a specialist. The other
Hmm.
guy's an NCO. Doesn't make him a specialist, but makes the wrecker have way more maneuverability. And
Yep.
then the wrecker
This
can
feels-
always just jump out and do it.
These feel like a great list for lockdown missions, like Frontline or Quadrant Control, or any of the like quadrant missions, actually. So like Supremacy. Anytime you need to like kind of leapfrog stuff forward, dig in, and then kill whatever you can see for the turn. It feels like a patient list. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't do a whole lot of alpha striking. What it does is it just kills what it can see, and then you can't move it the following reactive turn.
That the Wrecker Vidoc combo is super order efficient.
Mm-hmm.
Like between the two of them, it's like 5 orders with tack aware and NCO just to move
Yep.
around before you even get into your order pool.
Yeah, it kind of feels like
Or what do you mean,
a closing vice kind of list. Like every turn they're going to kind of creep a bit closer, kill what they can see, and be surrounding you. And then with the primes, holding down the counter attack, it's like, well, go ahead, try and get through here.
Fair enough. Yeah, my that wasn't how I thought about it. Like primes were going to be the backup where the wrecker is going to blitz and then just destroy everything that they can and die. And then the primes are going to move up and suppress whatever tries to crawl out of the damage done by the wrecker. And then second turn, third turn, next wrecker.
Yeah, next
And
next
like, just
wrecker,
keep
next
doing
wrecker.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So really, really straightforward. There's no trick here. You could do really cool stuff with the combos in this lists. Like, I don't know if you guys will do it. We'll see in a moment. But like,
Yeah,
I
see what
think
Dan says.
double Strider, double Moonraker, that is a list. I don't know how you make it all come together, but it's really something.
Yeah. I think this is one of those lists we got to get on the table and see it against in different scenarios. But I like that our first blush is always like, what are the gimmicks? And that yours definitely feels like one of the gimmicks. All right, Dan, what's yours?
So this is the one I played recently because I have a hard time seeing the Matrix. I just need to play things out. And this one did really well for me. And by the end of the first turn, he wanted to concede
Oh dear.
because I killed so much of his stuff. So you get a 5-man group, ignoring all your guys' thoughts. I have the Silver Star with Tack Aware, and I have Crime as a lieutenant, and then I have Raven Eye, Kappa, and Hippolyta. And so that's my 5-man group. The Kappa's a hacker. And so you have 3 specialists running up the board with you. So I was playing supplies, and so it's just nice. You can run up the middle of the board, kind of like in between 2 supply boxes, murder everything, and then you can split off into like a duo and like grab the boxes and run back to the other side of the board, and then your prime can go on suppression, and Hippolyta kind of just hides in the corner of wherever she was there. And then you also have a Strider for like turn 2 or 3 coming out of camo with the Mine Layer. You have Ment in case your prime gets absolutely obliterated. The Ment just kind of hides in the back line, and you have a Flashball Spot doing Flashball Spot things. Group 2, you have 2 Moonrakers that are Mine Layers. You have a Kludger Engineer and Beast Hunter, and just a Fuzzbot to get another an 8-point Fuzzbot for a cheap order.
Right. Kind of, it feels like a midfield mosh pit that you're kind of building there already.
Little bit. Kind of similar to a lot of my O12 lists. But yeah, I mean, you have 2 tack aware with the main group, and then with the Strider you have the NCO to be able to move around. But assuming you're doing everything correctly, your prime can spend his lieutenant order to put himself on suppression for his turn.
Right.
So you don't give away the Strider at all. And then you're going to have 6 camo markers on the +8 line, which is really nice. And then your other group has 4 orders plus 1 irregular. And that basically, after your main big group runs around and kills things and does objectives, the one Moonraker just walks up whatever side of the board. You put one on each side of the board and kills some things, usually like the Harris that's hiding on the other side that you're unable to get to. Because usually someone's hiding on that. And you just run up and heavy shotgun and peace trade or survive or who knows what, and do damage. And if you go second, you have a lot of camo, and it's hard to kind of wade through it all. If you go first, you have tons of reach, and you have a lot of button pushing possibilities. You only have a core, you don't have a Harris. But man, it's fine. It's totally fine.
Agreed. But you've also got the midfielders. You kind of went a different way from what I went. I went more into fire teams and less into like that midline pregame deployment that you've got, right? So I think I think of the 3 lists we described, yours is probably the most balanced because it's going to take advantage of something O12 can't normally do, which is start in the midfield, but also have that like hitting core link.
Give me that Hippolyta Pure Team. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I'm here, buddy. Don't worry, I got your back.
Somebody had to do it.
I got your back, Jack.
What I'm doing with, I don't feel like I'm leaning into the heavy infantry part of this.
No.
Faction at all, which is cool because you don't. I feel like with this list, I mean, it probably isn't fully optimized, but it's got something to it, and it's cool that you can embrace the heavy infantry, but you don't necessarily have to. Like you can bring a more of all comers lists, and so when you're facing this, and that's the big strength of sectorials. We've always said is they can do anything, and so this is me trying to figure that out. But also, I don't really know how to embrace the heavy infantry because I've never built lists like that. But I'm excited to try more and more.
That's fair. Make sure you copy your army codes into the Discord too, and we'll try and put them in the description for the whatchamacallit, the podcast description.
The thingamajigs.
The thingamajigs. So mine then, just to please Owen, I just posted it, is going to be I basically have a fire team, a Harris fire team, and a spare Harris fire team for if things go wrong.
Nice.
And it kind of hides things too. So it's 2 combat groups. Group 1 is only 7 models, but I need to rearrange something real fast because that didn't get put in the right group. Oh no, it got unsaved. When I saved it, it like reverted back to the way I had it before. I'd already rearranged things. I will repost this in a second because one of these Hellblazers was supposed to be in a different group. So it's a Hellblazer. The spare fire team is a Kappa Hacker, a Ment with the double riot stopper, a Hellblazer, and a Raven Eye. And those 4 models kind of hold the back line, because they're all kind of defensive pieces. You got your hacking device in there as well. And you've got the Raven Eye disguised as something from that list. Probably another Hellblazer, to be honest, just like holding down like a zone with its Flammenspier. Then our base Harris in that group as well, the other 3 models, is going to be a Vidok FTO with a multispectral visor level 1. Nimrod FTO with that AP marksman rifle, and a Kludger Doctor. This is the go get stuff done in the midfield team, because you've got that whatchamacallit, you got the doctor who can do a bunch of different objectives. You've got the long range band Vidok who can do all that multi-sniping, and you've got the mid-range brawler with that AP marksman rifle Shock that can deal with damn near everything else in the Nimrod. So
Now,
they're the
remember,
ones.
only one of those Vidocs can join that link.
It's a Vidok, a Nimrod, and a Kludger.
My bad.
Yeah, so that's why it's all three, right? Because
I thought it was two Vidocs. You're good. You're good.
No, yeah, that's why. And this is Owen's bit. We've got our core link in group 2 with a Kidda. So the Kidda is just there to give them extra order, and that takes us to 300. We got Hippolyta. We got a Wave Rider Killer Hacker because he's going to be in the core link, so you can get that sweet whatchamacallit, 6 cents. Hellblazer, because you got to get that cheap Hellblazer in there with an SMG and a Blitzen. And then the Silver Star with a Firewall, so that we add that to the Hacker. And then a Silver Star HMG for the long range fighting. And that core link is not that expensive overall. I think it's under 150. It's 149 for the whole link, but it can kind of do everything, right? You can throw out pictures at range and hack stuff.
So good. It's so good. It has Eclipse. It has Eclipse and
Eclipse,
pure link pods.
And a melee fighter, and like firewall automatically, like the whole thing.
It's also all specialists, so they can all do everything everywhere. They have non-hackable characters in it because Hippolyta's in there.
Yeah, it's a real like get things done list that I think is pretty great. So I'm excited about it. I think I like a 6-7 split. I know some people don't. Like its overall order pool isn't that efficient because a lot of those like Hippolytas and the Hellblazers won't be using their impetuous orders, so you're down 3 out of those total orders. But it still sits with that double lieutenant, and the Harris team in group 1 is going to have access to those extra orders because there's an NCO in there, right, with the Vidok. You've got a decent like mobility in this pool. And both your fire teams are really, really good at doing jobs at multiple ranges. They're super versatile. So yeah, I'm excited about that list. I don't know if it's the best list. I think Dan's starting in the midfield requires less orders to get going than mine does. But I think that core link is probably one of the best links you can make in this list.
The game?
And like maybe the game. I don't know. Honestly, it's a pretty decent link. Yeah.
Well, for points efficiency is pretty good.
It's 10
wounds.
Half
half your army though. It is half your army. The Wave Rider is not 2 wounds, is it? No,
he's
the Wave
sort
Rider's
of
not
2 wounds.
No, he's not. Wave Riders are 1
only
wound.
the one.
He's the basic. He's the basic guy. Yeah. Everybody else is 2 wounds.
Yeah. They're all specialists. Like,
yep.
It's funny because like I made a comment about it very early on that this army is the update to military orders and invincible army. Like it's weirdly got some non-lethal peppered in there that makes it a bit different, but yes, it does a lot of things better than those factions do. Like the fact, as soon as I realized it, like I was looking at the Rovers, who are like the meat and potato heavy infantry guy in this list.
Yep.
And it like clicked that is just a Zuyong. I started kind of going back and forth. So it's like the prime is the Mo Wang or the Sepulchre Knight, but he's better than both. But he's the same cost as both of them. And like the Rovers are Teutonic Knights / Magister Knights, but they're better than both. And like it's one of those, if you want to play heavy infantry, these guys are just really good at it. And then their secondary units, like their backup, are also really good.
Right.
Like they have a middle, like they're not just Trinitarians. They have like 4 different guys who are midfield threats. I mean, Invincible Army doesn't have a midfield at all. They have nothing, I'm pretty sure, is the answer.
Nothing great.
So yeah, like they have the Zhang Sha, but you also get a Zhang Sha minus 4-inch movement. Like what happened here? Like this is, I don't know. I really like them. I think this is an interesting army. Like I had another list that played really into the Striders and Moonrakers, and like that discussion I was having around robots, where it's almost like, here, I'll post it. It's almost entirely Rems with Sonya, and it's like this is a totally different army that I think is viable. Tag teaming another totally different army, tag teaming another totally different army, and the other two just don't get that. And
They surely don't. Well, I mean, I think that's what you're keying in on, is that this army in particular has more list variations than those armies do. Those armies have always kind of landed as slightly one-dimensional. There's like a couple ways of making
face
them.
up, like if you want to do like the pain train against pain train against pain train, these guys are doing the same pain train for like 50 points less.
They sure are.
Like maybe they're 1 BS less on their like point man, maybe, because some of them are still 14 if you bring a prime, but then they get some other thing that makes them better, like Eclipse or BS attack -3, or like it'll be one of those two, let's be honest. But that just means that they are just doing that, like the thing that makes you. Yeah, I do that.
I sure do. I do that.
I'll do it for cheaper, and I'm better at it. Yeah,
so absolutely.
Like,
I love the fact that Beast Hunter cheap to take, 2 Raven Eyes cheap to take, 2 Striders not a bad option, 2 Moonrakers cheap to take. You have 7 mines starting the game.
You do.
And it's like, and those are all models you want to have in the list.
And that's a way to play it. But you can also do it Owen did.
But you can ignore it completely and play more like Imperial Army or
exactly.
But the thing is like you could do a little bit of both, because your big link, like Ash's big link, is sub 150, right? Like you can still pull double Moonraker plus Beast Hunter plus Raven Eyes. And now the one thing that is like the hard counter to those heavy links, and it's the Alpha Strike and kill them as a group, you just have a screen of mines and like random stuff that is 150 points of your army against their like 200 point big team, or like whatever it is.
It's a really good blend of profiles. I think we only maybe mentioned 2 or 3 where we're like, this guy's fighting in his class. Like there was and for a short list of profiles, because this isn't a huge like list, right? Yeah. Like there's not that many profiles in it. That's a really good job. Like faction.
I honestly think it's the Jackboot and the Nightshade are the only 2 who like, I don't know. Maybe the Drop Trooper. Maybe. Yeah. There's some arguments for Drop Troopers.
I mean, honestly, there's some arguments for the being able to walk up and fight a decharge too, like looting and sabotaging. There'd be a few times where the Nightshade would be handy too, right? Like it's that they're situationally, or like we said earlier, they're like objective based versus like, oh no, this is the core, this is the nuts and bolts I'm going to build this around. You know what I mean? Like in every faction, there's things that are like, oh, this is a great selection slot, and I'll rearrange multiples of these together. And some factions have more of those kind of like buckets of things that go good together than others. This one in particular seems to have like 4 or 5 of those collections of guys that go good together, as opposed to like some of the older factions have like 1 or 2. I think that's why it feels good. And it's just surprising for a first launch for a new faction where there's like a limited model count and not that many profiles that are, just brand new.
I mean, I'll be honest, it's very Control-C, Control-V of profiles right out of Invincible Army with like
but with variations, like
change a few things so it doesn't look like you copied my homework.
And that's Infinity, man. Like they're all humans, a human. Like I can't see that as an indictment, because I think that's one of the things that makes Infinity digestible. Right. Like, some of them are variations on a theme, but at the same time, it's how you mix that stuff, where we look at Invincible Army and go, and they're really struggling. And we look at this one and go like, holy shit, look at how many things this can do. Right. So like, I don't see that as a problem. I just see that as, this is what makes you able to, absorb 4,500 profiles, or how many insane numbers of profiles there is, when you see some similarities between them, because they're just human with rifle, heavy infantry with rifle.
It's very on the nose. You're right. The 30-something point man infiltrator guys are variated, and like there's versions of those all across the points. The fact that like they're even in the same order. Like,
sure, man, I know
they're just the same guys. Like they're
I'm just saying let it go. Because the faction's fun and it's got lots of variation, and even if like they are, then
it's
whatever.
Peacemaker and whatever his name is in that new Suicide, where he's like, I'm just you, but better.
I'm just like, you, but better.
Okay, thanks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Well, it's a good one. I like this. This felt like a good digestion. I'm so glad that Dan got to play some games with them to get us some like actual experience on this stuff. And I'm glad that I'm excited about this faction. I think this faction's a good add, especially to 12, where they needed something that does midfield. They needed camo. This adds like another dimension to 12, which I think is going to be pretty exciting.
Basically none of these guys carry over into vanilla, by the way.
No, they don't. What I'm saying is just to generally like like if you have an 012 collection, this is you add these new models.
You can play a different way.
Yeah, exactly. That's not really true. Actually, a lot of you don't get the prime, but you don't get
the ones Owen likes. You get the Wrecker. I'm pretty sure you get like most of them.
You don't get any silver stars, full stop, with the exception of the rover.
Well,
Who is
that's
the
only
base
silver
guy.
star.
Okay, but they all have.
Well, there's only
silver.
2, and one of them's the prime. So you don't get the prime, is what
You
you're
don't
saying.
get the prime. That's pretty much
You're
it.
getting silver stars, but
Okay,
you do.
but
You,
you don't
get
get
all
the-
of them, just not the prime.
All right.
That's it.
Whatever.
Basically, just don't. And there might be another one, but basically, you don't get the.
You don't think the Strider is a big loss to vanilla?
Okay, you don't get the Strider as well. Wait, is that true? It
Yeah.
is true.
I mean, to be fair, every time Owen says anything with confidence, you should immediately say, "Wait, is that true?" That's,
You don't get
that's-
why
the
would-
yellow jacket.
after after
Who
11
cares?
years of knowing Owen, that is my first instinct whenever he says anything.
I'm okay losing the yellow jacket.
I was
But
also
what's
me
cool
too.
is like
the Strider is sad though.
like
It's enough. I like they get enough new stuff that I think it makes it's just a good shot in the arm for the faction.
The
like
Wave
for the
Riders and the
newest faction.
Tuggers not being there is also annoying.
Dude, the fact that like O12 already had like a fun mosh pit of midfield, and then you can add 2 Moonrakers to it.
Yeah.
The fact that Moonraker
It's not nothing.
is actually crazy. Of all the
Yeah.
people who I would not have expected, I would not have expected the Stormbots and the Moonrakers to have shown up in vanilla.
Yeah,
I mean, I
you get
kind of like
full AVA, 2 of
thematically
each.
they're just robots, so
There you
like
go.
what?
They're
you
the
can't buy
most, yeah, because
robot?
you can make a robot. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. They just come off the assembly line. They're the ones that
Yeah.
should, absolutely. They're not
We're
a
not
dude that had to
training
get
the
trained.
cyber combat team to join vanilla. They're a
we're just
special
gonna roll
troop.
it. Yeah, we're just
But
gonna.
that's
we're
just a robot.
We just choppy another one of you off the assembly line. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Those Moonrakers are clearly made cheaply.
Mhm.
So like
Mhm.
I've been my thoughts so far on the factions, I've been having a lot of fun experimenting with the Prime and seeing what he can do. But I'm kind of more excited about vanilla with all the new profiles.
That too. Yeah.
I'm still excited for both, but it's kind of like it's like vanilla is like the whole new space.
I think you got to flip it
Yeah.
and do what we were talking about with Suppression Prime instead of Fighty Prime.
Definitely the next time you guys play, give it a try because I think Suppression Prime's a big like.
Yeah.
No
Well,
one's
it's
gonna see
Very
that coming.
difficult.
No
And
one's
like
gonna see
the
that coming.
resources to get rid of him are high. Like that you can't reliably just go hack him. Like that's
You
not-
have to have smoke and melee. That's basically it. Like you need to be able to
Smoke's not
smoke your
enough.
way over to him and
Smoke's
stab him.
not enough. He has MSV built in.
I guess that's true. That's right. You need to have. I forgot he has MSV. So yeah,
Yeah,
you need to
it's-
have. You would need to have Eclipse basically.
Or white noise, I guess.
Actually, you could white noise him too. That's true.
But white noise is not very common.
Yeah, and neither is Eclipse. And both
No.
of those end up in the same faction usually.
Yeah, that's true. Well, no, you could just camo over to him as well
Yep, that's a solution.
because he'd break his suppression then.
Yeah. But like and most camo guys don't want to face up Mr. Armor 5 and also his sidearm is a riot stopper.
No, certain factions will have an answer for him, but most times if you're trying to brute force the guy, or if there's just like one lane to him and you got to come down the lane anyway, or you overlapping fire him, it's going to be a big problem.
Look, I'm
Ariadne.
excited to do Varangian smokes with Nimrods and just AP shock marksman.
Is the
rifle.
Nimrod in the duo list for O12?
No, you don't get a duo,
Oh, okay.
but you can duo the Varangians and they run around throwing smoke, and then the Nimrods come up.
Right, but now you bring the good Nimrod with the camo, right?
Yeah. That's when he comes out.
More midfield.
Can
wait,
never
do
have
they
enough
not?
midfield.
Is he not the one that had the camo MSV sniper? Am I mixing him up with the other one again?
You're mixing them up with the
With the
Vidoc.
Vidoc, yeah.
There's the Vidoc again, yeah.
Vidoc, yeah.
Who did
But you
not
still
show
you get
up.
2 of them. Like again, very limited.
Vidoc's there. Vidoc's in O12. You can get the camo one.
Yeah. But it's just
there he
like
is.
so many cool options, and then like
Vidoc's AV8 2 as well in O12. And
Yeah.
I think he's only one in
Yeah.
yep.
whatchamacallit.
So, anyways, cool options. Lots of fun new units to experiment with, fill some holes, and I think it's just I honestly I hate Space Marines so much. I just think they're so boring. I'm
Okay.
completely an outlier, but and it's like when I looked at them, I was like, oh, why? But then I had them in my hands and I painted them, and I don't know what it is. Whenever I paint models, I gain an affinity towards them.
Yeah.
And,
Because they're yours
and
now.
they-
They're your little imagination thing.
they've grown on me a lot, and I
Good.
really don't mind any of the sculpts anymore. Where I used to be
Good.
like, ugh, and now I'm like, no, these are fine.
These are
Yeah.
fine. These are cool.
Play the army that I posted second. I think it is. I think
What's the second? Wait,
I'm not sure how you engage this army. It's like a mix of all of the most obnoxious mechanics put together.
Oh, Dan Owen.
But there's no Raven Eyes.
This is 012, base 012. No, this is Torchlight.
No, this is
Strider,
Torchlight.
Strider, Moonraker, Fuzzbot, Cludger, Stormbot, Sonya. This is so stupid. Wave Rider, Kidda, Kappa Warcore. What the fuck is this? It's 15 guys, and it's just robots and
your 8
layers.
camo markers at the beginning,
Jesus,
just out
it's
all over
so
the
many
place.
camo markers. Yeah,
and then you're a Harris of double heavy rocket 2 wound armor 7 and cover Stormbots with an engineer. Turn 1,
God.
you marksmanship both of them.
Because you have 2 Fuzzbots.
Because you have 2 Fuzzbots. And then
they're linked with Sonya? What's happening with Sonya?
No, they link with Cludger. Sonya's there because I needed the more Swick for all my hackers.
Got it. That's right, because you have 6.5 SWC or 7 SWC. Yeah, 6.5, yeah.
Yeah. And then and then your Striders. Now I'm tempted to switch one Strider from a mine to a repeater. I think that's the right play, because then on turn 1, you just walk up with the repeater and you're like, hey, you got any hackers on your side of the board? Boop. Wave Rider kills that guy.
That's funny.
And then on their turn, they have to run into double marksmanship linked Stormbots who are armor 6 with effectively 4 wounds. And then you fix them.
And marksmanship. And then you just fix them if they die. Yeah.
Yeah. And if they hit you anytime, it's damage 15, no cover, burning.
All right. Well, we're over 2 hours now. So I'm gonna call this. But as promised, this was our Torchlight Brigade review. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Not sure what we're doing next, but we will keep you posted on the Discord. Thanks so much. We, of course, at the end of March have the Patreon closed down just because we not know when we're gonna do stuff, but we'll be back periodically to hang out and do these things.
Cool.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye.